short of the 43% goal to get the world on track for net zero carbon emissions by 2050. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
2 shootings, 2 police officers. Radar is clear, 43 and mostly sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. A cop is on the bench for now after shooting a man in Southport. State police say the Southport officer had tried to pull the man over, but instead that man ran into an apartment complex and then later fired a shot at the officer, who then returned fire, wounding the man. That shooting happening after an IMPD cop shot a man that they say carjacked and kidnapped a woman at gunpoint.
There's no information that she knew the suspect. She was totally surprised by this individual that jumped in her car and threatened her with the gun.
The woman drove the car to where she knew officers were on the east side, and that led to the man refusing to put the gun down when told to by the cops. He pointed the gun at them, and that's when one officer shot and then tased the man, they say. Over 50 Hoosier veterans lost their homes Saturday night when a fire broke out at a veterans facility. Donnie Burgess reports.
It took fire crews in downtown Indianapolis over 3 hours to control Saturday night's fire. A few veterans were slightly hurt, and most of the units were a total loss. The vets are staying in nearby hotels for now, per the CEO of Helping Veterans and Families. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Snakes are common in Indiana, but anacondas are not native to the Hoosier state. Yet, that's what a family in Evansville found in their backyard on Sunday. Anacondas are not venomous, but they are still dangerous since they tend to squeeze the life out of their prey. The Indianapolis Colts losing 23-20 to Houston Sunday, with Anthony Richardson having to leave the game at one point. The reason?
Man, tired. I ain't gonna lie. That was a lot of running right there, what I did, and I don't think I was gonna be able to go that next play. So I just, just told saying I just needed a break right there.
Richardson going just 10 of 32 passing. He did throw for a touchdown, but also had an interception. Indy back to 4-4 on the season as they face the Vikings on the road next Sunday in prime time. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
Vehicle fire cleanup continues on the southeast side. That's northbound 465 shy of 74, causing stop-and-go traffic back to Emerson Avenue. Southeast side crash cleanup northbound 465 after Brookville Road, and that is blocking the right lane. Stop-and-go traffic to South Shadeland Avenue. Northbound 65 grinding through the north split out to Meridian Penn. And then on the northwest side, crash eastbound 865 and 465. Traffic sponsored by BJ's Wholesale Club. BJ's Wholesale Club is opening November 1st in Carmel. At BJ's, members get up to 25% off grocery store prices every day. Visit bjs.com/Carmel. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
It's Terry Stacy, a customer of Premier Deck Coating, and they've changed our life when it comes to saving us time and money, preparing and protecting our deck year after year. Premier Deck Coating is the ultimate deck protection. Sister company of Rhino Shield, locally owned. Right now, we've got black walnuts that fall from the trees that normally used to stain the deck, but no more now that we have Premier Deck Coating. It has completely transformed our deck with their special formulated product, and it's backed by a 10-year warranty. They came in, they sanded all the walking surfaces, they repaired the damaged boards, and then they applied their Protect Deck and Railing coating, and that repels mold and moisture, and it resists scratches, and it keeps our deck looking great for years to come. They can also do fences and pergolas, too. And listen to this. Right now, they're able to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans and no payments until next year to qualified customers. Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. We love what they were able to do for us. For a free quote, visit premierdeckcoating.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Lots of sunshine with warmer temperatures this afternoon. Today's high 70, mostly cloudy, breezy, and a bit more mild overnight, a low of 60. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
You still need a jacket out there. 43 and partly sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, October 28th. It's 7 minutes after 9 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Coming up, we're going to talk about the event that was held at the MAGA Square Garden last night. But first, let's talk about the most viewed podcast appearance for either of the candidates in the 24 presidential campaign. One of the highest viewed Joe Rogan Experience episodes in history. I don't know what it is now. I'm sure it's at 30 million views at this point. 500,000 comments in just the first 48 hours. We're talking about Donald Trump's appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast.
If Donald Trump indeed wins the presidency, and I was tweeting about this earlier, if Donald Trump wins the presidency, it will be because he has run the greatest campaign in American history. Now, if he loses the presidency, it's because he's a deeply flawed candidate. And either way, win or lose, the day after election, we're going to look at each other and go, we should have seen that coming. Because what I mean by this is Donald Trump has run the most unorthodox and yet I think largely brilliant campaign in American history because he has bypassed all of the societal norms and banked his entire campaign on finding groups, or as I call them, pockets of people who are almost never reached, and he is taking a flyer that I can engage these people to where they will go and vote for me. And this Rogan show over the weekend, first of all, I thought he was fine. I thought he was. Now, I've not watched every single second of it. I tried to watch as much as I could before college football. I had dad duty on Saturday morning. My daughter appeared interested in that for about 30 minutes, and then we had to go do something else. So I've watched, on and off. I've not made it all through all 3 hours, but clearly there's nothing totally egregious in there that I have missed that somebody would have said that's the end of Trump, which was the fear, right?
Right.
Is that if you let the guy as long as you have one person who can stay on script, you can have a meander. But when you have two what they call meander guys, it tends to be a risk. But I felt Trump was fine. My favorite part that I've seen so far, and Trump does this all the time, and he does it in a way where he's super endearing, is he very early on in the interview, Rogan asked him something about like what was when you became president, what was it like at the beginning or thing you experienced or whatever. And he starts talking about the Lincoln bedroom.
Right.
And Trump will tell you things that everybody knows, but he'll tell you in a way like, you probably didn't know this, and I'm going to go into some immense detail on it. And he starts going into how Lincoln and his wife were very sad when their son died.
Yeah.
And he's going, Lincoln was a very sad man. They didn't call it depression back then. They called it melancholy.
Melancholy.
Him and his wife were melancholy. They had a son. His name was Tad. He died. And he keeps going on this thing about there was a picture of Tad. It was a tiny picture. You can maybe see it. And it's this. He goes for
Rogan's like, yeah, we know that. Everybody knows that.
But he's. I don't even think he's being like disingenuous or whatever. I think in Trump's world, like, hey, you may have not known that Joe Rogan, you, a scholared, learned man, may not have known that Lincoln had a son named Tad and he died and he was very sad about it. And it was like, I'm just laughing hysterically at Trump is the only guy who can do this, where everybody should be like, oh my gosh, come on, get off this. But Trump, you're just like, tell me more about Tad. Tell me more. They didn't call it depression back then. They called it melancholy. Tad died. Lincoln was sad.
Well, it seemed like Joe Rogan was like, no, I want to get to like the appointees. You had to appoint a bunch of people and you were new. You didn't know anybody. Just learning. What was that like? But he kept going back to the Lincoln bedroom.
There's a tiny photo there of Tad. I don't know if you can see it.
I thought the funny part to me was when he was talking about maybe he should be a whale psychiatrist and the windmills and their noise is upsetting the whales. And I don't know, probably maybe. But my favorite line in the whole thing was when Donald Trump was talking about how the media is obsessed with him and he doesn't know why. And Rogan was like, yeah, I know why.
So I always got more publicity than other people, and it wasn't like I was trying. In fact, I don't know exactly why. Maybe you can tell me why.
Oh, I could definitely tell you. You said a lot of wild
Maybe.
You said a lot of wild and then CNN, in all their brilliance, by highlighting your wild made you much more popular.
Yeah.
And they boosted you in the polls because people were tired of someone talking in this bullshit pre-prepared politician lingo. And even if they didn't agree with you, they at least knew whoever that guy is, that's him. That's really him. Yeah. When you see certain people talk, certain people in the public eye, you don't know who they are. You have no idea who they are. It's very difficult to know. You see them in conversations. They have these pre-planned answers. They say everything. It's very rehearsed. You never get to the meat of it.
And it sounds like he's talking about Kamala Harris right there.
Yeah, and so my point of all of this is it didn't even matter as long as he didn't say something highly egregious. The content of the conversation doesn't matter. It was doing the interview that mattered. Because, and it's interesting, so Kev, I asked, we were laughing because you said, I watched the Rogan interview. And I said, well, now you've found out what it's like to be Kevin every single week. Yep. And Kevin piped in and goes, I don't really watch Rogan very much anymore because you said he got he talks too much about UFC.
Yeah, he talks about UFC and fighting a little too much and kind of flexes his knowledge.
Right, perfect. So Kev is somebody who was watching because Kev is an intellect. Like he was interested in the guest and the conversation. Trump didn't go on for the intellect and the conversation. Trump was going on for dudes.
For the exposure.
And for a bunch of that interview, it is two dudes sounding like dudes talking about dude stuff. And so when we talk about Trump being able to, and the way he's run this campaign, which is brilliant, he is extracting people from the apathetic populace and moving them into his voter camp. He's not getting people to decide between him and Kamala Harris. He's not getting people to say, okay, that are voters to say, okay, I'll go with Trump. He's taking people who otherwise would not participate, and he's putting them in his column, in his category. And he's doing this one pocket at a time, whether it's Antonio Brown with black voters in Pennsylvania, or he's doing this with Rogan or the Theo Vaughn people, or I don't know, we're going to cover the Madison Square Garden stuff here in a minute with that comedian that got up there. He's brilliant. It's either the most brilliant thing that anybody's ever done in the history of American politics, or if he loses, we will go, wow, that was stupid.
Yeah,
that didn't work.
I still think it's respectable that he did it.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for transparency's sake.
Because the point is, you're going to make, and I have no idea how you voted, no, you're the voter, doesn't matter. You're going to make your decision based on the issues. You're an involved enough person that you're going to, he's not going for you. He went on there to take people who are apathetic to the political process and get people to go, you know what? We need a man running this country. We need somebody with some bravado and gusto running this country. I don't mean man in the sense of like a man. Like if a woman had the same attitude of Trump, men would be attracted to that. They would say somebody with some cojones who actually cares about this country, who gets masculinity, who gets what it means to be an American, who's proud about what it means to be an American. And those two guys talking about fighting, talking about UFC, that's what he was catering to. That's about Tad Lincoln or whales or UFOs. All of the rest of that stuff was totally irrelevant.
I thought it was really interesting when he was talking about his generals, though. And he was like, not the ones on the TV, the ones that are actually out fighting. Those are the real generals.
Right.
And so we've got some audio we're going to play throughout the morning. But I thought this was interesting because this was the meeting after the meeting with Joe Rogan. This is how Joe Rogan thought the podcast went with Trump.
He's real good at you ask him a question and he starts to answer it, but then he takes you on a totally different route. But you got to bring him back in, but you got to be respectful. So it's like, I knew that's the way he does it, but I'm like, I understand what you're doing, sir, but let's get it back to what I was asking you.
Yeah, you did that a couple times.
I was like, I want to know what that first day is like, and I don't think I really got that answer out of him.
I don't think he remembers.
Because he was talking about the Lincoln bedroom.
Casey, it is 9:16 in the morning on a Monday, and I am, oh my gosh. It is the least, I can't do this at 9:16.
Sure you can.
It's the least favorite part of every show. At 9:16 on a Monday.
Yeah.
What is my least favorite part of every show?
When you have to say you were right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Rogan, look, I found this out
what has it been now? It's been eight and a half years ago. There is something about this guy, especially in person, that is, he's almost like spellbindingly charismatic, where you know the guy is bull crapping and he's just winging it off the top of his head. But he does it in a way, and Rogan just described it, where you're like, I know that was just a word salad crap, but he was so good, and he makes you believe in the authenticity of the way in which he's, remember in Tommy Boy where they're like, I can take a dump in a box and mark it guaranteed, and all I bought was a guaranteed box of crap. Mm-hmm. And they go through the thing about, well, people want to feel good, right? They want to feel the box is comforting them. That's Trump, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he's comfort. Yes, he totally didn't answer that question that Rogan asked him. And part of me is sitting there yelling at the TV going, answer the question. You're not answering the question. But then I get so suckered in where he's talking about the tiny picture of Tad.
The story.
It was called Melancholy back then. It was not different. You're just, by the time it gets done, you're like, that was way better than whatever the actual answer would have been, and I'm glad he went there.
I thought one thing that it did show is that Donald Trump could speak about a lot of different topics. Yeah. They went through nuclear energy, JFK, UFOs, UFC, the environment, his first day in office. I mean, they covered a lot of territory. Now, it was 3 hours long.
Right.
But he was able to talk about all of it. There was never a time where he was like,
I have been through this on a much smaller level, and I'm in no way trying to equate a local office election to the president of the United States. But when I ran, I did this exact same thing from the standpoint of, I assumed that all the politically knowledgeable people already knew how they were going to vote, which is you either liked this guy that was in or you had some grudge against him and wanted him out. So why would I talk to those people? And people used to laugh at me, like when I went to the high school for a day and talked to the kids, and I would go to all these doors and people were like, those people are never going to vote. I said, if I get 10% of them, it's free votes. All the knowledgeable people are already going to vote based on an interest of liking or not liking the person. Why wouldn't I go find people who are just free votes? You're never going to talk to them. They don't know who your guy is, but they'll know who I am. You can't lose. And that's exactly what he's doing on an infinitely larger scale. He's finding all of these pockets of people who are free votes if you just get to them because they're otherwise not going to engage. It's totally brilliant. It didn't matter whether he did good or not. He did fine. But
it's just the matter that he did it. Yeah.
It was any vote he gets was a free vote. It's brilliant.
All right, we're going to talk about the floating island of garbage comment coming up next on 93 WIBC.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
Election night 2024.
The most important election.
Real change.
Incredibly pivotal moment.
Insight, analysis, opinion.
The results.
Complete election day coverage.
Never been anything like
the American people.
Drill, baby, drill.
Tuesday, November 5th, election night and beyond.
All just the beginning.
Choose 93 WIBC, your election information station.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at We Grow Hair Indie, and man, it has been almost 5 years now. That's unbelievable. 5 years since I made the choice to get my confidence back by heading over to We Grow Hair Indie. Now, here's how it works. You call today, 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. Darren and the gang, top-notch, first class all the way. They'll take care of you. Then, after they look at what's going on with the top of your head, they're going to give you some different options on some things that might help, and you make the choice. Oh, and by the way, while you're kind of mulling things over, you can head over to WeGrowHairIndie.com, WeGrowHairIndie.com right now, and check out how some other people made the choice to get their confidence back by heading to We Grow Hair Indie. Again, call today for that totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. 317-522-2995. WeGrowHairIndie.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Hi, this is Richard Stevenson. Need heating service in Johnson, Morgan, or Hendricks County? Give us a call, 317-557-8532.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Not everybody's going to like every single joke. Some jokes are going to turn people off. Some are going to turn people on. And at the end of the day, it's a joke. And Tony Hinchcliffe, he's no stranger to controversy, right? He's kind of made a name for himself of insulting people, and that includes the audience members. And he's done that for years, and that's how he's made a name for himself, even though I can't pronounce it. He was doing it last night in Madison Square Garden during the Trump rally again.
That rally was excellent. A+. The speakers, I mean, they brought the A-team. Hogan was there. I mean, Tucker, all of these people. And so this comedian, Hinchcliffe, who's, again, who does Tony Hinchcliffe appeal to? He made his name and is largely connected with Joe Rogan. That's the connection, right? And so this is a strategic thing by Trump, knowing who this guy is. He puts him, up on the stage, and he starts doing. This is the most amazing. Again, if Trump wins, it will be the greatest political campaign ever run. If he loses, it'll be one of the worst. It depends on where the voters go. He has a comedian doing a stand-up routine at Madison Square Garden at one of the closing salvos in a razor-tight presidential race. And do we have some audio?
We do. We've got two clips from him.
I thought this was brilliant, but I want to play some audio of this before I get into why.
Okay, here's the first one where he's talking about the Democrat Party. Number 9, Kevin.
The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Oh, Okay.
We said that on the air. I was surprised that Kamala Harris was pulling out Usher and Beyonce and all of these people that are right now being associated with bad things with the P. Diddy stuff.
Yeah. Do we have one more piece of audio from him? I want to play that, and then I want to talk about why this was brilliant to have this guy on stage.
Okay, this is the one that's getting all of the controversy that's surrounding it.
It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there.
So his Instagram account is being inundated with angry comments from people slamming him for the joke. The Team Trump actually came out and said, you know what? That's not affiliated with the Trump organization. He did that on his own. That's his own stand-up.
Yeah, well, all those people in Puerto Rico with their 0 electoral college votes, I'm sure they're outraged. Here's the problem, though. There were all these people wearing, Puerto Rican flag hats, flags around them who are coming out of the Trump rally, and they're being interviewed by man-on-the-street type people, and they're like, no, we weren't offended at all by that.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. We laugh at ourselves. So here is what two things having that guy on stage. And again, nothing. Casey, 2 segments today now. Our first 2 segments, and I'm going to have to pull myself together because I got to do my least favorite thing I've ever
Are you going to point out that you're right again?
Well, what did I tell you? When some people on this very radio station were having aneurysms over Trump talking about eating the cats and dogs. Remember, that's it. It's so unprofessional. He's done with this. He totally is distracting people from the issue. Who was the one who said, no, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Right, he's drawing attention to it.
And this is going to make immigration the issue, which is right in his wheelhouse. And what has happened?
Yeah, it made immigration the
So
issue.
here we go again. Same thing. 2 things he accomplishes with this. Number one, the left, the media, and the Democrats now are going to spend 3 days whining and moaning and wailing about jokes. And what's that going to do? It's going to take young men, and it's going to take black men who are going to look at that and go, really? That's who we want? These wimps? That's who we want running our country? That's who we want in charge? No way. Again, he's taking pockets of people and he's using this guy to endear these pockets of people to him because you've already seen it. The left is totally up in arms. Now, the people of Puerto Rico are walking out of there, and they're all over Twitter, and young men are seeing this, and they're going, we don't care at all about that. It's funny. He's telling jokes about everybody. This is what this guy does. We have a sense of humor. Lighten up a little bit.
Self-deprecating humor.
But the left won't be able to let it go.
No, because they're all about cancel culture.
And the other part of this is, when your opponent doesn't know in sports, when your opponent doesn't know what you're going to do, it makes it impossible for them to counter, program, and play defense. I saw this Saturday night in the Texas A&M LSU game where LSU's ahead. Texas A&M is struggling to move the ball. They're struggling to score points. They bring a backup quarterback in who plays a completely different type of offense. He's a runner. They run the option. And they score literally every time they have. Doesn't mean he's a better quarterback, but their coach is like, we got to do something else. They bring that guy in, and they scored literally every single time they had the ball the rest of the game.
They weren't anticipating
LSU
him.
had no idea how to defend it. Then they start defending, hey, we got to put all these guys up in the box. Now he's throwing over the defense. Brilliant. It's brilliant. Now, if he loses, I'm going to be like, boy, that was really stupid. But my goodness. Okay, Casey, when we come back, we've got to talk about something the local Democrats here are doing that is showing the complete hypocrisy and disingenuous nature of these people. It is just, they put it on full display for you.
All right, that's on the way from 93 WIBC.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center, with leading-edge treatment options right in your backyard.
I feel blessed and lucky. If I knew someone that was going through what I was going through, I would definitely encourage them to participate in a clinical trial. For me, it was life-changing.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Just over a week to go. It's mostly sunny and 45 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Both candidates for president are crisscrossing the country as they continue to ramp up their campaigns. Former President Trump rallying in New York at Madison Square Garden last night.
On issue after issue, Kamala broke it, but I will fix it. We're going to fix it.
As for Vice President Harris, she campaigned with singer Beyonce in Texas.
We are focused on the future, and we are focused on the needs of the American people.
Though many people left that rally once they realized Beyonce was not performing. Lyft will be paying just over $2 million in penalties to the FTC for deceptive claims related to how much money their drivers can earn. A lawsuit by the DOJ accused Lyft of violating federal law by making deceptive claims. Shohei Ohtani is okay to play. That's the word from Los Angeles Dodgers manager Dave Roberts after Ohtani partially dislocated his left shoulder attempting to steal second in Saturday night's Game 2 win over the Yankees in the World Series. Game 3 of the series goes down tonight at Yankee Stadium with LA up 2-0. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. At the opening bell, major equity averages are way up. The Dow is up 220 to 42,542. The NASDAQ up 139 to 20,637. And the S&P 500 is up 32 to 5,878. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's time to get ready for spooky season by eliminating all that spooky dirt, grime, and spills. Halloween brings out the best in people, but it also brings out some pretty scary crud from all the foot traffic. How about having Zero Res help you take on all of that with an unbelievable October special? Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $119 and $75 off air duct cleaning too. That's a $50 savings on carpet cleaning. And remember that your air ducts are where the really spooky stuff is. Yikes! The Zero Res service for your carpets, floors, or air ducts is easy to line up, and you can go online at ZeroResIndy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. I love these folks. And don't forget the ZR water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $119, plus you get $75 off air duct cleaning too. 317-388-5141 or book things online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
As a caregiver, managing your loved one's health can at times be overwhelming. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. In a moment, I'll share 3 tips to help you manage your loved one's medical care effectively.
Cardon & Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Tip number 1, keep a list of all medications, dosages, and schedules to ensure your loved one is taking their medication correctly. Second, attend doctor's appointments with your loved one when you're able. And finally, stay organized by keeping forms, notes, and other important documents in one secure place. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access the library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Hoosiers need a fighter to protect our jobs and our values. I'm Todd Rokita, your Attorney General. I fight for you, and together we win. suing Biden because he's opened the border to illegals who are killing us, harming our kids, and driving up our taxes. Stopping federal bureaucrats who kill jobs and jack up our electricity prices with their failed Green New Deal that does nothing for our air and water. Keeping criminals behind bars where they belong. Recovering millions of dollars from welfare theft, fraud, and from opioid drug manufacturers, all to protect your health and your tax dollars. Creating the Parents' Bill of Rights so you can protect our kids from those trying to corrupt them while you're at work. Successfully keeping boys from competing in girls' sports and defending, of course, our pro-life values. And the Gun Owners' Bill of Rights so you can defend yourself and your family. I'm Todd Rokita, and with your vote this November, we'll keep fighting and winning together. Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
So for a moment, Donald Trump turned New York City from blue to red. It was at full capacity at Madison Square Garden, and thousands upon thousands of people were congregating outside of the venue. By the way, just need to point out, for all the rhetoric you're going to hear about how that was a Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden, that's the fourth iteration of Madison Square Garden, so it's not even the original building.
Yeah, and I think, so think about this. So he does this on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's NFL. You're up against NFL, obviously, right? The news cycle on a Sunday is different anyway. Let's say he'd done a rally. My favorite thing was the governor of New York came out and it's like, Trump is waving the white flag of surrender. He just wants to be close to his bedroom. He's in New York. He can't win New York. It was like, lady, there's no way you are actually that stupid. And if you are, wow, that explains a lot about why New York is in the shape it's in. Think about what Trump did. He said, okay, it's Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say he'd had a rally in, I don't know, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right? So he goes to Milwaukee and, yeah, okay, all the TV is there and they're covering it and whatever. Nobody's talking about a rally in Milwaukee, Wisconsin the next day. How are we leading our show? We're doing multiple segments about Trump being in Madison Square Garden, people lining the streets of New York City, 20,000 plus people who couldn't get in, who were there. The thing is sold out. You got all the star power he was able to get.
Let's review that for just a second. All of the people that he had there. J.D. Vance was there. You had Tulsi Gabbard there, Rudy Giuliani, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., of course, the Trump children were all there, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, Dana White, Tucker Carlson. It was the lineup to see.
Hulk Hogan.
Right. Oh, my gosh.
You're not getting a lot of those people in...
Lee Greenwood, of course.
Right. Well, he goes everywhere, right?
Right.
But you're not getting a lot of those people if you're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And the idea that the governor's like, he's waving the white flag. He dominated the news on a Sunday. Do you know how hard it is to push the NFL to the back page? It's freaking brilliant to do that there. And the guests, I mean, color me the most shocked person in the world, because I was super critical of this at the convention. Hulk Hogan has ended up, who would have thought, okay, if at the start of 2024, I would have said, Casey, Hulk Hogan and Antonio Brown are going to be super
moving
important.
the needle for Trump. Wait,
in
what?
The presidential election, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. So totally on point. Great rally, great strategy, great guests, great content. A+ event.
You also had Dr. Phil that was there, but let's play Elon Musk. He seems a little bit out of his element, getting up and making a speech in front of that many people. I don't think is Elon Musk's thing, but he yelled out this, I don't know, this fight yell when he was introduced.
All right. As you can see.
But they loved him.
Yeah,
they loved
I'm not just MAGA.
They love that he was there. He said, "I'm not just MAGA. I'm dark Gothic MAGA with the black hat and the black writing." That's
Kev will back me up on this because he goes to music shows all the time. The concert itself is largely irrelevant. It's the buildup and the name on the billboard that matters most.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoy the concert itself.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the anticipation of the thing, right? Like I'm going to see. So you get your tickets a month in advance.
True.
There's a month of build-up. You know,
it's like part of the fun of Christmas.
Right, exactly, right? Like the day you go with your friends. I'm going to fill in my favorite band. You know, you're drinking with your friends before.
Pre-gaming.
You're talking about your favorite songs. Like the idea of my point on this is the idea of Elon Musk being on the. It's not whether he's good or not. It's the richest man in the world is going to be there. It's like this is like the Lollapalooza of political events because you have all of these super names, and it doesn't matter whether they give the "I have a dream" speech or not. I went to this ruckus, rowdy event in the financial capital of the world and the media capital of the world, and everybody was there, and it was a Kennedy and Tucker and Elon and Hogan and Dr. freaking Phil and Dana White, and it was like the Lollapalooza of political events where no matter what you were there for, you got a little flavor of your favorite thing.
Okay, so you mentioned Hulk Hogan. He was there. It looked like at one point he had a little difficulty ripping his shirt. He was trying, but he, again, got the crowd pumped up.
You know something, Trump maniacs? I don't see no stinking Nazis in here. I don't see no stinking domestic terrorists in here. The only thing I see in here are a bunch of hard-working men and women that are real Americans, brother.
Fun fact, Franklin D. Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump have all held political rallies at Madison Square Garden. But, of course, the media and the left want to say that Trump's was the only one that was a Nazi rally.
I'm telling you, as a 40-year-old man, that Hogan stuff hits you right in the feels. I mean, it's great. All right, so we got to talk about this. The complete hypocrisy. We've played the audio now. Do you want to take a break and then do it? The complete hypocrisy of the Indiana Democrats. And we've got to talk about how they are just something very bizarre that they are very proud of based on how they have described
Donald Trump. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about it next.
It's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Election laws, theft lawsuits, and the United States embarrassed by being left out of a potential Middle Eastern war. It's the Tony Kennett Cast here at 7 p.m. or the podcast anytime.
Hey folks, Hunter Smith here. I spent every fall from my childhood until my days in the NFL on the gridiron. Football gave me the chance to attend Notre Dame and go on to win a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. Football also taught me life lessons about hard work and toughness. This fall looks a little different. I'm not on the field, I'm running to represent you at the State House, and I'm taking hits from opponents. Hits meant to mislead you about my values and priorities. I'm tough enough to take it, and I trust voters are smart enough to know the truth.
Hunter Smith is a husband, father, and local business owner of Wonder Tree Farm. At the State House, Hunter will work to lower property taxes without impacting priorities like public safety. The Indiana State Police Alliance and Fraternal Order of Police endorse Hunter Smith, and Hunter will always empower parents to choose the best education for their kids. Vote Hunter Smith for state representative.
Paid for by Hunter Smith for Indiana.
Holidays will be here before we know it. Maybe you've already started shopping for someone on your list. AAA Hoosier Motor Club inviting you to join them, help make sure some local kids in need get gifts through the Toys for Tots program. AAA giving you the chance to send a holiday message of hope to Central Indy's less fortunate kids.
And as a thank you for donating to Toys for Tots, current AAA members will receive 25% off any merchandise in the travel store or adding someone to your AAA membership featuring their fabulous 24/7, 365 days a year roadside assistance for just $25. And non-members who donate will have the opportunity for early access to a special holiday offer, a classic AAA membership for just $50. Help local children in need this holiday season and secure your peace of mind with a AAA membership. Donate to Toys for Tots at AAA. Visit AAA.com or find the AAA store near you.
High taxes can erode returns quickly. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? Let Creative Planning help with a free year-end tax review. This personalized review will help you reduce your tax burden before the year ends. It's the perfect time to take proactive steps to optimize your tax situation. Go to creativeplanning.com/radio and request your free tax review. Act now. This offer is only good till Monday, October 28th at midnight. That's creativeplanning.com/radio.
Get in gear with fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get a brand new 2024 Navigator. Get an incredible $10,000 off plus 0% for 60 months. Or get $7,000 off select new 2024 Lincoln Aviators plus 0% for 60 months. So get some of those fall savings at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Qualified buyers with approved credit. Not all buyers will qualify. Taxes and dealer fees extra. Stock number L24412. MSRP 104,200. Stock number L24208. MSRP 75,300. See dealer for complete details.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts. Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Casey, I'm going to need your help with this next topic because, man, I am just totally confused what's going on here.
Are you talking about how the number one trending thing on Twitter right now is Nazi rally? Or how on MSNBC last night, the Super said Trump's MSG rally comes 85 years after pro-Nazi rally at famed arena?
Yeah, so by the way, it's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. So for the past, years now, right? Basically 4 years, and the rhetoric has only gotten. By the way, don't you love that they're like, why are people trying to kill Trump? And then in the same breath, Trump is Hitler.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk tweeted this out, and I thought it was appropriate.
They're giving people permission.
Yeah.
By saying that.
If you really thought Hitler was trying to run the country, Adolf Hitler, what would you do?
Yep. They said they're creating urgency for the rank and file to commit micro actions on the ground.
When you're telling somebody over and over and over again, this person's Hitler, what would you expect them to do? People who you know will believe what you say. So my point in all this is for 4 years now, we've heard, 8 years really if you go back to the original, but it's amped up over time. Trump's a Nazi, he's a Hitler, he's a fascist, he's a dictator, he's a threat to democracy, he's an ist, he's a phobe, he's a this, he's a that. All of these things we have heard over and over and over and over and over and over and over again from Democrats, both nationally and here in the state of Indiana.
Yep.
Unless I've missed it, the Indiana Democrat Party has not come out at any point going, we denounce this. Trump's a good guy. We may have some political disagreements.
We don't agree with that statement.
So the Indiana Democrats, the people running for statewide office, at no point have any of these people on various campaign events. And we got some political differences, but Trump's a good guy and a good American, and may the best person win. This is too extreme.
No, they haven't said that, Rob.
So this is really wild because I saw on, I don't know if this is yesterday or Saturday, it doesn't matter. I retweeted it so people could see it. Our old friend Indiana Beto, Destiny Wells. Now, for those of you who don't know, Destiny Wells is the spectacularly failed former Secretary of State candidate Democrat who is now, if you believe the polling, about to spectacularly fail again running for Attorney General. We call her Indiana Beto because she is just like Beto O'Rourke was, where there was all this hype and hoopla, and then it comes time to vote, and people are like, no thanks.
Yeah.
So her nickname, because she keeps running for offices like Beto did,
right,
is Indiana Beto. So Indiana Beto tweets out this retweets or whatever, this photo of somebody who knows if it's real. It doesn't give the person's name that I recall. There's no proof that this was legitimate or this is how they actually cast the vote. But why would Indiana Beto lie about something like this? So let's just take her word. This person is one of 7 people in the entire state who, and just luck of the draw, she found him, who's voting for Donald Trump, and then they're showing their ballot, and then they're voting straight Democrat the rest of the ticket.
Yeah, it says rock the vote. and she found it because she was tagged in
No,
it.
Beto said this.
Yeah.
Indiana Beto said this, Destiny Wells.
Yeah, the picture says rock the vote with a little American flag emoji, and then it says Destiny Wells, Jennifer McCormick, hashtag Trump Train 2024.
So Destiny Wells, who is a part of a party who at no point has denounced or spoken up that believes Trump is a Hitler and a Nazi and a fascist and a dictator, threat to democracy, phobe, all of these things.
Yeah.
She's proud to share a ballot with that person.
Yeah.
She's proud to be lumped in that in that person's way of thinking, Destiny Wells and Jennifer McCormick share the same values as the ist and the phobe and the dictator and the Hitler and the Nazi. Destiny Wells is proud to be lumped in with that person?
Yeah, why would she be bragging about sharing a vote with such a horrible human being, Rob?
Well, Casey, let me take a stab at it, shall we?
Yes, please.
The reality is Indiana Beto and Jennifer McCormick and the rest of these Democrats, they don't actually think that, the people who know what's going on. Because if they did think that, they would be out denouncing this. They would be saying, I don't want your vote. If you're associating with that guy, you count me out because we don't share the same values. We don't have the same ideas. I am mortified that you would think that we would be lumped together or be able to work together or share the same vision for America. No, they don't do that. What she does is she retweets and it puts it out there because she doesn't really believe that. She doesn't really believe that. All she really cares about is getting votes. All she really cares about is getting elected. So, hey, if you're going to lump me in with the Hitler and the Nazi and the ist and the phobe, sure, I'll take that. Oh, if I got to reject that and tell you how awful this guy is to get your vote, sure, I'll take that too. These people don't actually believe this stuff. They're telling people that to try to get them ginned up because they think that it'll help them win an election.
Yeah, it is interesting that she decided to use that picture as a brag. Like somebody voted for Trump, who she apparently despises, but they voted for me, so it's okay.
And then when you call her out, of course, they don't answer the question then. They don't ever answer the question like what? Because I asked her directly. I said, I retweeted. I asked her directly in direct back and forth course. By the way, when she loses again, when she gets 40% of the vote again, do you think then there'll be some sort of recognition? Hey, wow, spending a lot of my campaign time fighting with the radio guy on Twitter probably wasn't a good strategy. Again, well, you think there'll be any recognition? Hey, the on-demand abortion activism, the celebrating, the sucking the brains out of defenseless fetuses, that really wasn't a good. Do you think there'll be any public recognition from Indiana Beto about why she lost so badly again? Or will she be blaming the phobes, Nazi lovers, Hitler lovers who were Donald Trump voters, who she was so proud to have the vote of that one? Or will she be blaming them for her loss again?
No, I don't think we'll hear from her just like we didn't last time she lost. She disappeared for a while. Do you remember that?
For another office.
And then she ran for another office.
So my question is, and maybe Indiana Beto, because she's responded to things we've said on the show before, since she wouldn't respond on the back and forth on Twitter, maybe she could put out a tweet, and she loves to fight with me on Twitter instead of doing actual campaigning, actual work to win votes. Maybe you could clarify why you're so proud to share the ballot with a person who your party, and you've never denounced, believes is a Nazi and a Hitler and a misogynist and a racist and a homophobe and a dictator and a threat to democracy. Maybe the Indiana Democrat Party could let us know why they're proud that their governor candidate, Jennifer McCormick, who, by the way, there's ads all over the place right now talking about how much Jennifer McCormick hates Donald Trump, how proud she was to vote for Hillary. I guess she figured out who she voted for, by the way, because remember with Adam Wrenn.
Right. She said she didn't remember.
Remember that interview she did with Adam Wrenn? She couldn't remember, but maybe she was suffering from amnesia that day. You know, it's really easy to remember not who you voted for president in 2016, Casey. I mean, that
it
would
was
be
so
really
long
easy.
ago.
The point of all this is these people, these Democrats, are the most disingenuous, hypocritical, they're pathological liars. They don't mean any of this crap that comes out of their mouth. They're saying it solely to gin you up, to try to get votes. And the reality is, as we've seen twice with Donald Trump now, this rhetoric drives insane people who don't know how to sort through your bull crap and don't know how to sort through your lies and don't know how to sort through that they're being used to try to get votes. It takes crazy people, and then they end up trying to kill the guy not once but twice.
Yep, they're all just trying to motivate maniacs to do crazy stuff, and clearly it works. Okay, so did you see Kamala Harris had a new accent?
Again?
Again, another new accent. We'll talk about that coming up from 93 WIBC.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
Fellas, if you're not upbeat like you used to be, it could be low testosterone. It affects our moods. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. Guys have different T levels. We're not all the same. Don't go for TRT referred to as a standard dosage plan. Ask. There's a difference.
Look for TRT with an optimized personal treatment plan like you'll get with the experts at Low T Center. Go to lowtcenter.com. Book that appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. 10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Coming up in 2 minutes, another week of testimony has begun in the Delphi murders trial, plus where there was a couple of police shootings that happened Sunday and into this morning, and gas is cheap and getting much cheaper. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Back in the swing of things. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Both presidential candidates are in so-called swing states today after
Last night's rally at Madison Square Garden in New York.
This is the city where I was born and raised, and this is the town that taught me that Americans can do anything when they want to.
Former President Trump will be in Georgia today.
Today, the former president heads to the town of Powder Springs, Georgia, outside Atlanta for the inaugural summit of the National Faith Advisory Board. Following that, he holds another rally in Atlanta at the indoor arena on the Georgia Tech campus. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Vice President Harris spent yesterday campaigning in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I'm feeling very optimistic.
She has 3 events in Michigan today.
Musician Maggie Rogers will join Vice President Harris and Governor Tim Walz at a rally in Ann Arbor, as a number of Michigan voters tell Fox News they're still undecided.
I just don't like what Kamala Harris is doing right now when it comes to like Israel and Palestine. So I don't know if Trump is going to help too much, but I know he's not going to support it the way she is.
Former President Trump campaigned in the battleground state over the weekend, where he received the endorsement of a number of key Muslim leaders. The latest Fox News Power Rankings rate Michigan as a toss-up.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. The UN Security Council meets today about Israeli airstrikes on Iran Saturday. There have been more ceasefire talks in Qatar.
A proposal from Egyptian mediators would pause fighting in Gaza for at least 48 hours in exchange for 4 Israeli hostages released by Hamas and some Palestinian prisoners released by Israel. The idea is to create space for a permanent ceasefire and allow a surge of badly needed humanitarian aid to reach parts of Gaza.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. At least 40 soldiers are reported killed during an overnight attack on a military base in Chad. Chad's president says there will be a military operation to track the unidentified assailants. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's on to the next week. Radar is clear. It's mostly sunny, 48 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Testimony continuing today in the Delphi murders trial on Friday. Much of the testimony revolving around interviews state police conducted with Richard Allen that ultimately led to his arrest. Allen's defense also pressing some witnesses about the possibility, they say, that multiple people may have murdered Abby Williams and Libby German. A woman carjacked, held at gunpoint, and told to drive. That's what police say happened here in Indianapolis on the west side. That police say that led to an officer-involved shooting.
No cop leaves their house wanting to ever use deadly force against another human being. They live with that. They're human beings just like us.
IMPD Chief Chris Bailey, who says the woman drove to where she knew cops were and got out of the car. That's when the suspect refused to drop the gun, pointed it at the officers, and was then shot and tased as well. That happening before another police shooting happened on the south side of Indy early this morning. It was in Southport, where a man who fled from a traffic stop fired at cops chasing him through an apartment complex. One of the cops fired back, wounding him. Dozens of Hoosier veterans lost their homes Saturday night. Donnie Burgess reports.
The fire started around 9:30 Saturday night at the Veterans Facility operated by Helping Veterans and Families in downtown Indianapolis. Over 30 fire crews responded and helped evacuate dozens of people. The fire was finally brought under control by 1 a.m. Sunday. A few vets were slightly hurt, and the rest were put up in nearby hotels. Most of the facility units are a total loss. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Gas is cheaper still. South Bend has the cheapest gas in the state at $2.48 a gallon at some stations. Indiana's overall average, though, is $2.93, says Gas Buddy. The Indiana Pacers losing Sunday 118-114 to the Philadelphia 76ers. Head coach Rick Carlisle.
In all 3 games, rebounding has reared its ugly head. Turnovers have been an issue. That's possession of the ball. It's certainly a situation that we can do better in.
They have the Orlando Magic tonight on the road. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Indy, tired of using the fall to paint your house year after year? Then do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looks looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
And right now, Indy, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
I think it increases the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, October 28th, 5 minutes after 10. His name is Rob Kendall. My name is Casey Daniels. And let's talk about some polling, shall we? Donald Trump outpacing Harris in the battleground state of North Carolina. This is the latest Emerson College Real Clear World Survey. They've got Trump at 49.6%. They've got Harris at 47.9%. But then when you go over to the latest ABC News poll, they say that Harris has regained a slight lead in the Electoral College over Trump. But then when you go to Real Clear Politics, they say Donald Trump now has a 94.5% chance of winning the election under their latest national polling. Thought it was really interesting when Donald Trump was speaking with Joe Rogan on his podcast. He said that he doesn't believe any of that polling because they're just bought and sold. They need certain numbers so that they can charge more for more polling.
Well, it is a business, right? Don't kid yourself. I think that's one of the things we lose sight of with polling. Is that pollsters are not running soup kitchens. They're not running charities. They're not, unless it's some poll working for a nonprofit, they're not writing it off on their taxes. They're employing people. They pay people to do this. It's a money-making thing. This is their Christmas season, right? Every 2 years, especially every 4 years because of the presidential race, these people, this is what they do, is political polling. And now, it is amazing how the polls always seem to tighten as you get closer to election day, right? Isn't that like every year, every presidential election cycle? Don't we just go through this all the time? The Republicans down, the Republicans down, the Republicans down, and then October hits. The race is tightening. Who would have seen that coming, Casey? I mean, it would happen with Bush. It happened with even Romney. Remember Romney, and then Trump. Obviously, it's happened multiple times with. I mean, we lose sight of the fact that this is a business. These people are in business. Now, I'm not saying every pollster has some nefarious motive. Trump is a very hard person to poll because of the wide variety of people that he pulls from. And I've read multiple articles about this, about pollsters who are talking about what they've learned from 2 cycles and how they're trying to correct it this time. And look, the only poll that matters is the one on election day.
Right.
I mean, the reality is if you're voting based on a poll anyway, let's say Trump we're down 1 in all the polls instead of up 1 or whatever.
It's always within the margin of error anyway.
Would you be like, well, I better not go vote today? No, of course.
And I love that caveat. It's within the margin of error. So we could be completely wrong on this.
Polling, other than the internal polls for the campaigns, polling is designed to give people like us things to talk about. Now, there are internal polls, which, by the way, for all the huffing and puffing about a surging Jennifer McCormick, you notice there hasn't even from the Democrats been some poll showing her actually surging that's been released? I guarantee you, Casey, the Democrats have done internal polling, and yet, where is this magical poll that shows her surging?
Well, Abdul and I got into an argument about that. He was saying in other parts of the state of Indiana, she's doing very well.
Where does Abdul get into other parts of the state?
And he said the urban areas. And I said, now, wait a second. There's 2.5 million people in the Indianapolis area, 7 million in the state. So the majority of people don't live in the urban area. And he said, no, I'm talking about Fort Wayne. What are you talking about? The other 100,000 in the Fort Wayne metro?
Urban areas.
The urban area
Right.
of Fort Wayne?
We'll get into Abdul and Micah a little bit later on in the show. But my point of all this is the only poll that matters is the one when they count all the votes.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Whether it's the governor's race or the Senate race or the attorney general's race or the presidency, none of it matters. Go vote for the people that you think are best.
Have earned your vote.
By the way, maybe we'll do it next segment. You and I got to have a pretty frank discussion about my voting. So I'm going to go vote on Thursday, I think.
I think I might go today.
You're going to go today?
I'm going to try.
So it's your last chance to suck up to Casey if you're in Indianapolis, if you're one of her either reps or whatever.
Yeah.
You're running out of time.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that next. Maybe next segment. I'll have to ask you a question about voting because I gotta figure something out here before I go. And by the way, part of the reason we do this publicly, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. The reason I endorse publicly or talk about voting publicly is so that you have no doubt who I'm supporting, what sort of relationship I have with the candidate, right? I want people to know that. We have nothing to hide here in terms of the relationships we have with candidates who we're supporting. We never want you to feel as though you've been hoodwinked or didn't get all the information or who we're for or whatever. And then you can take our commentary and our opinions and you can do whatever you want to do with that. But that's why we put that out there. We always want you to know the full relationship that we have with candidates.
Oh, you mean we're being transparent about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What? That's
so
weird.
We'll talk about all that later on in the show. But
Okay.
anyway, what's going on with Kamala Harris?
Well, we're speaking about polling, and she was asked about her internal polling, and this is what she had to say.
Can you give us a sense of your internal polling at the campaign and how that is making or influencing your decisions on what to do over the next 9 days?
So, to be very frank with you, my internal polling is my instinct. I let the campaign people deal with all that other stuff.
So it's letting somebody else run the campaign, is what she's saying.
Are you sure that's not artificial intelligence?
No, that was her. My internal polling is my instinct. I let my staff take care of everything else.
The only time I've ever heard that and it worked out for someone was Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura famously gave an interview with a guy named Graham Benzinger years ago, long after he'd been governor, and he asked him about running for governor. And he talked about, he goes, we didn't have money to do polling. I mean, he had no money. Jesse Ventura's whole campaign was, I'm on a bus. We're going to be at this park in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota at 2 p.m. Come if you want. And just the crowds would swarm. But he was like, it doesn't matter what the polling says because I don't have any money to do anything with it anyway. She's raised $1 billion and she doesn't look at her own polling?
Well, that's what she told you anyway. And it goes back again to that conversation that Donald Trump had with Joe Rogan. And, Donald Trump was like, I don't know why the media is so obsessed with me. And Rogan was like, well, you're not prepackaged. No, if it's crazy, if it's great, if it's weird, whatever you say, at least we know it's authentic. And I bring up the word authentic because of this next clip that I want to share with you. Do you remember, was it last week? Somebody was at a Harris rally and they yelled out, Jesus is Lord.
That's right.
And she said, oh, you're at the wrong rally.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here she is a week later at church.
Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. The path may seem hard, the work may seem heavy, but joy cometh in the morning, and church morning is on its way.
But wait a minute. Jesus is Lord. No, you're at the wrong rally. And now she is at a black church in Philadelphia.
Oh, my gosh.
Saying that.
That's hilarious.
You didn't hear that accent?
Wasn't it John 11:35? Jesus wept. I think that's the best Bible verse that I can reply to that one. Jesus wept.
Okay.
My goodness, boy, what is it with these Democrats? Hillary did this same thing. Remember?
A shapeshifter. That's what it is.
I just unbelievable that they just keep going back to the same playbook over and over and over again.
Okay, so after she was at an event, her and Gretchen Whitmer went out and, just two girls having a casual beer, of course, knowing they were being followed by cameras. And this is how that went down. It's number 16, Kevin.
Listen to this question. Everyone's trying to look at this ground. Yeah. Oh, we have microphones in here listening to everything. Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
She didn't realize the cameras were there. So what the camera and the microphones caught was Kamala Harris telling Gretchen Whitmer, we need more men. We need more votes from men. We've got to move that needle.
So wait. She's in a bar.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking to a sitting swing state governor.
Correct.
They're surrounded by people.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, oh.
There's cameras?
You could hear this?
Whoops.
Do you actually believe that?
No, I think of course they knew the cameras were there. That's why they were at the bar to begin with.
But
because she wanted it to seem like she was just a normal person.
She's so not smart that she may have actually forgotten, right?
Well, after she spent the night in the bar with Gretchen Whitmer, having the beer and saying off microphone, which she was surprised the microphones were there. Let's go to number 19, Kevin. They line up Tim Walz and AOC, and they were playing Madden on Twitch together.
So Twitch is the one where people watch other people play video games. Okay,
Correct.
so now my wife does this on YouTube of these Sim City games or whatever. She doesn't go on the Twitch or whatever that is, but she will just sit there and laugh at this. And I'm like, why don't you just play the game? She's like, I don't have time.
Yeah.
I was like, you spent an hour watching this guy play the game. What do you mean you don't have the time?
You're watching other people play.
Does your husband do this?
No, but my daughter does. So
your husband plays the games.
Not so much anymore.
Wait. Your husband and my wife had some 2-hour conversation the night with WIBC last year about some
RuneScape
or escape hatch
he's
or whatever.
Played. He's just not playing as much as
he was some sort of high-level expert because we just left them for the whole show and they were still talking.
They found common ground.
But she's like, I don't have time to play. I was like, you spent an hour watching this guy play the game.
Mm-hmm. So their answer to getting more men was to have Tim Walz and AOC play Madden on Twitch. So they plopped Tim Walz in the corner of a hotel room, hooked him up with a gaming system. Of course, they have all of the campaign signs behind him, like, this just happens constantly.
Right.
And one of the things that came out during the conversation was Tim Walz said that, they need to get rid of the filibuster.
The Senate has their own things. They have kind of their norms and their customs, but in order...
Maybe some of those norms, I'm just going to say, I don't know where you stand, but I'm guessing you and I are probably the same on the filibuster. But
we got to get rid of that thing.
Okay, Kev, when you're sitting around gaming with your buddies, because they're trying to be... this is to appeal to young men, right? Kev's age.
Mm-hmm.
Kev, when you're sitting around with your buddies gaming, doesn't it come up, hey, Harold, what do you think about getting rid of the filibuster?
Yeah, all the time.
I mean, that's dude chat right there.
Yeah.
Nothing you'd rather hear as a dude. Nothing comes. I mean, okay, so your two options if you're a dude is the closing argument to you if you were a dude was Trump on Rogan talking about whales and UFOs and UFC, or Tim Walz and AOC talking about the filibuster.
Right. Exactly. When people play these games, they're talking about the skins that they can purchase.
The who?
The skins. It's like the costume that the video characters can
what are you telling
morph
me?
into.
What?
See, I'm more relatable to young dudes than AOC and Tim Walz.
This has come a long way.
I mean, I know what skins are. They're talking about a filibuster.
Well, right.
Give me a break.
And I'm not a hip person, right? I don't know about any of this. But my point is, like, if I were running for a high-level office where I needed men 25 to 54, or in this case, men 20 to 30.
You're going to plop yourself in the corner of a hotel room?
Trust me, there's enough areas of society that I am a pretty well-versed person in that I could do the, football or whatever to cater to these people. This is crazy. Somebody is getting paid a lot of money, and they were like, What can we do to appeal to young men? I know. We'll have Walls and AOC talk about the filibuster.
No, didn't work.
I got to ask you a voting question when we come back.
Okay, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
Election night 2024.
The most important election.
Real change.
Incredibly pivotal moment.
Insight, analysis, opinion.
The results.
Complete election day coverage.
Never been anything like
the American people.
Drill, baby, drill.
Tuesday, November 5th, election night and beyond.
All just the beginning.
Choose 93 WIBC, your election information station.
If you are a single or widowed woman, well, the statistics aren't very pretty. You run into a far greater risk of running out of money in retirement than any man or married couple. Hello there, it's Terry Stacy, and the last thing you want to be is 80 years old, full of life, and flat broke. Discover the strategies that could ensure you never run out of money in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy, right here in Indy. I know Bill and I trust Bill, and I'm so thankful that he was able to help my mom too. I don't put my name on any random Joe, but I'm here to say you can count on Bill Demery. Call Bill at 317-349-5212. That's 317-349-5212. 317-349-5212. Call Bill right now.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
We're looking at 7 days, 14 hours, 37 minutes, and 10 seconds until Election Day.
And you're voting today?
Yeah.
Whitmer was in the chat.
I'm looking at it, yeah.
Stephen Whitmer is running for state rep in your district. He is in the YouTube chat, and he was very adamant that you check the voicemail box before the...
He did. He sent us a voicemail, I believe it was last week, something that's going on. They're closing a lot of the roads from 4 lanes to 2 to accommodate pedestrian traffic, and he wanted us to be aware of that.
That's great.
That it's just going to create some bottlenecking on some of the city streets.
You know why people hate the government? Indianapolis used to be the easiest city to drive in, and Kevin will back me up on this. This city used to be a breeze to drive around in. You could come from Greenwood like Kevin. You could come from Brownsburg like me. Now, the stuff from Carmel or Fishers, that traffic was not related to Indianapolis. That was getting out of that hellhole you chose to live in up there. But this used to be the easiest city to drive around in. Like, it was a joy to come down here. It was easy to park. It was cheap to find parking. The roads were wide. You could zip around. and they've ruined it.
Yeah, there's way too much construction for such a small downtown area.
They've ruined it for what? 9 people who ride a bus? And these bus people and these government people think that they've done something great. You have ruined this city. It used to be the easiest place to come down to park at, to get. It's awful to get down here now.
Yeah, so Stephen Whitmer, he is running in my district. He sends regular door knockers, and he has followed your advice. Now, I know that you think that the picture of him has taken up too much space. That's too much space on the front.
Well, let me clarify that.
But he does only have 3 points on the back with some QR codes that you can scan. He did do that YouTube interview, which I wasn't overly impressed with the outcome of that. We'll talk about that, Stephen. But I think, as far as his campaigning, his door knockers, he's done a decent job.
Well, I'd like to clarify this, and I like Whitmer, and I would vote for him if I were in his district. I'm not, so let me clarify all that. But I will say about the mailer, the back is fine. The back is fine.
I'm holding it up if you're watching on the YouTube channel.
Here's the problem, Stephen, and I would say this about me, too, so I'm not, picking on you, Stephen. You're not Brad Pitt. And my argument has always been, unless you are a beautiful person, you should not put your photo on the mailer, because the photo
could turn people off.
Unless you're a Broad Ripple 8 or above, maybe a 7. Broad Ripple 7 or above, you should not put your photo on the mailer, because it's not going to entice anyone to vote for you because they've seen you, unless you're really, really attractive. So that's my point. I feel like there's a lot of wasted space with this photo, but the back is fine.
Yeah, the back is good. His 3 points: property taxes, public safety, infrastructure.
Yeah.
So that's good. Now, the difference between this one and this other mailer that I got,
that's a book.
This is from Deandra D. Thompson.
Who?
She is running for school board at large with IPS.
Oh,
and this
really well-run machine over there at IPS.
Big one. It's colorful, and
think about what that cost to print in the mail. Think of all the children she could have helped if she had used that money.
And you want to talk about
to help the children.
Picture of herself. It's a big picture.
Yeah, again, I'm just not a fan of pictures unless you look like Brad Pitt or I don't know. What's the Sweeney lady? Kate Sweeney? Is that her name? Who's the Sweeney? What's her name? The chick that was on Saturday Night Live. With the.
I know who you're talking about.
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney. Yeah.
Kate Sweeney's the elected official here in Marion County. No offense against her. I have no idea what she looks like. Yeah, unless you look like Sydney Sweeney or Brad Pitt.
Sydney.
It's Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney.
Right?
Yes.
The
Correct.
chick with the.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
The things. You know the things.
Right.
Yeah.
She is.
Unless you look like one of those
she's
people.
Put together
Do
nicely.
not and there are some politicians, like that Luna, whatever her name is, the U.S. rep from Florida.
Who does all the bikini pictures.
Right. She could do a photo. It'd be fine. I don't know. Josh Hawley's kind of a.
I saw a lot of ads for him when I was in St. Louis over the weekend.
I mean, he's a physically fit dude. Like, he works out. That'd be okay. Like Bobert, maybe. I mean, because she's doing the bikini photos now. You don't get what I'm saying, right? I mean, unless you are and it's a very small amount of people that would qualify for this. I would not put my photo on a mailer or a sign or anything else.
The interesting thing about this woman who is running for school board at large is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 key points, paragraph, lots of sentences. It's double-sided, many pictures, and I'm not sure that most people take the time to look through it. Now, the one last thing that I got in the mail that I wanted to share with you. This is a postcard. Tiny little thing, right? And there's even a handwritten note on it, which is interesting.
It's from Michigan.
It's right? Okay, so 2.5 years ago, going on 3 years ago, I lived in Michigan. And it says, Michigan votes Tuesday, November 5th, and visit their website, right? And then it's addressed to me in Indianapolis.
What?
And then it went to Trenton, New Jersey through the mail to get to me. So somebody in Michigan addressed this. While they were addressing it, they were writing Indianapolis, and then they put it in the mail, and it went all the way to Trenton, New Jersey.
This was a candidate.
Yeah.
Like a vote for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You hogged this whole segment, and it was very selfish of you. I have a very important election question I have to ask you, so we'll do that in voicemails when we come back.
Sounds good. It's Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hey, Bill, where you been? You're overdue for a haircut.
Man, listen, my water pipes burst and flooded my house.
Place a mess. I've been staying with my daughter till I can figure out what to do.
You trying to fix it and move back in?
No way. It's too big a mess. It'll cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I ain't got that kind of money.
You trying to sell it then?
Well, that's what I'd like to do, but who's going to buy my house in this condition?
Did you call Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters bought our house when we were in a jam. We needed to move real quick. They closed fast and gave us cash.
Simple Quarters will buy in any condition?
That's right. They buy as is. You don't have to repair anything or clean anything out. It's simple.
What do I have to do?
Just call them. They'll do a quick walkthrough, then they'll make you an offer.
Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to help people in difficult situations. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME. Check us out at simplequarters.com.
It's the Turn Back the Time sale only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Pre-pandemic prices. It's not going to happen again, and the sale has been extended to Monday, November 4th.
They still have free delivery and setup if you live within 75 miles of their store in Columbus. And no other store comes close to their prices. Lazy Boy, Smith Brothers, and mattresses from Tempur-Pedic. Interest-free financing is available. ThompsonFurniture.net. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Campaigning in the Big Apple. It's 51 and mostly cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. That was former President Trump on Sunday. Fox's Brooke Singman.
Tens of thousands of Trump supporters lined the streets outside the Garden for hours before the former president took the stage.
On issue after issue, Kamala broke it, but I will fix it. We're going to fix it.
Meanwhile, today, Trump is back on the campaign trail in Georgia with just 8 days until Election Day. Brooke Singman, Fox News.
Vice President Kamala Harris will be holding a big rally today at the Ellipse near the White House. Iran says it will use all the tools at its disposal to respond to Israeli attacks on military targets in the country over the weekend. Israel carried out airstrikes on several missile factories and other sites in Iran, in retaliation for an October 1st missile attack on the Jewish state. An Iranian foreign ministry spokesman said that there would be a response. President Biden has called for a stop to the escalation over fears of a wider war in the region. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-9336. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-444-9336. 800-444-9336.
Are you ready to take control of your safety? Premier Arms is the place to consider, and they're more than just a gun store. Premier Arms is a community for empowered women dedicated to helping you find the perfect firearm. Hey, it's Casey Daniels. That's how I felt when I shopped at Premier Arms. I asked them a lot of questions, and they treated me with respect. Premier Arms is in Brownsburg. They're also online at premierarms.com. Their phone number, 317-858-3030.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is a proud veteran-owned company. 317-557-8532. Don't forget to get out and vote.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
All right, I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to the voicemails.
Okay.
But you hogged the last segment.
Sorry.
I mean,
It is
you
half
went
my
into business
show.
for yourself.
It is half my show.
I got to vote on Thursday. You're voting today.
I'm gonna give it a shot. Yeah.
So basically, if you wanted to get to Casey, you probably missed your opportunity. I'm gonna go on Thursday. I got to decide what I'm gonna do in this Attorney General's race.
What do you mean? What
Well,
you're gonna do?
on
Whether
the-
you're voting or not voting at all?
On Friday, Micah brought me I had somebody who wanted a sign, so I said, give me a sign, and he slipped this in the...
I saw that. Laying on my desk. I thought you brought that in for me.
If you're looking on the YouTube chat, it's a Todd Rokita for Attorney General.
Yeah, it
sign.
says Protecting Hoosiers, Todd Rokita, Attorney General.
He slipped it in under his sign as though I wouldn't notice, and then he actually made a Instagram or whatever video about it and posted it, and he closed the end by looking at the camera and said, Todd, you and Rob will be friends someday. Well played. And I told him I'm just all out of space in my yard.
Maybe you'll be friends. Maybe Todd would like to come in.
Well,
be on the show.
You know, I think somebody's reached out to him about that, and I think he's...
Our listeners would love to hear that.
It'd be great radio.
The live reconciliation.
It'd be phenomenal radio. It'd win Todd a whole bunch of votes, but I think Todd recognizes that he's probably so far ahead he doesn't need any help, and so, you know, we'll just keep... So here's where I'm at with this, right? So I'm really torn on this Attorney General's race. I'm pretty good on everything else, but I'm really torn on this Attorney General's race because I can either leave it blank.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no world. Like, if you were to send me to Guantanamo Bay and hook me up to one of those shock devices or put me in a room with Jack Bauer for 5 minutes, like, there's no world where I would ever vote for Destiny Wells.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I figured as much.
No. So, I mean, my two choices really are leave it blank or vote for Rokita.
Yeah.
Now, I'm torn on this because I don't think Rokita's done a good job at all as Attorney General.
Yeah.
I think he's too political for the office. I think it's gotten him in trouble, clearly, right?
Yep.
I mean,
we've talked about it many times.
But I loathe Destiny Wells.
So you're afraid that if you don't vote, then what? There's a chance
No!
that she could win.
I just
without
want her
your vote?
to. No. There's no world where she's going to win.
Okay.
I just want her to lose by as many votes as
Got it.
possible.
Okay.
Like, I just want her to lose by as many votes as possible so that I can laugh at her over and over and over and over again the day after the election. And I'd like to contribute to that. However, the problem is my vote, if I vote for Rokita, and endorse, does then just become like I own whatever stupid, because like if I don't vote, then I can see, I told you guys I don't want any part of that. And I really don't want any part of Rokita, but I really, 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 really want Destiny Wells to lose by as many votes as possible.
Okay, couple things. You
So what do I do
often say they need to earn your vote.
That's right.
And do you believe that Todd Rokita has earned your vote?
Well, can you earn a vote?
Maybe he'd like to come on and earn it before you do vote.
Can you earn a vote by the other person just being so horrifically bad?
Is that really earning it, or is that just...
Well, like, look at some of the people you probably dated over the years. Didn't you maybe date somebody just because the other options were just so bad that was the best option in front of you?
No, I never did that.
Really?
Maybe you did.
Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
So...
Kev, back me up on this, right? I mean, come on. Sometimes the other options are so bad, you're like, well, you know, if I close my eyes, this person's a 7.
Yeah, I've always been kind of picky, but yeah, I guess every now and then.
I feel like maybe he hasn't earned your vote, and you always tell everybody they have to earn your vote. If they haven't earned it, leave it blank. It's up to
Okay.
you. I understand, though, why you're considering it, because you want it to be such a commanding win.
So really...
The other thing, I had a conversation with a neighbor of mine.
Yeah.
And this was last week. And he was pretty much saying how, disenchanted he was. And he was like, I don't even know if I'm going to vote at all. And I was like, what? And he was like, nah. And I said, okay, well, if you had to, who are you going to vote for presidential? And he said, I guess Trump. I said, okay, governor's race. And he was like, I don't know. I think I may not vote. And I said, okay, if you don't vote, you don't get to complain about how they spend your money. And his answer to me was, well, yeah, I do, because that's a great thing about America.
Well, that's true. It's a good
I
point,
cannot
right?
vote, and I still get to complain about it.
Right, that's true.
But I don't agree with that. I think, if you're one of the most informed people when it comes to politics.
Right.
There are many people who feel like this is the most important election ever. You have to vote. You have to vote. And there's a lot of uninformed people out there who are voting because they're being told you have to vote. Really? Do we want those people voting? I don't know if we do. You're very informed.
Yeah.
I think that it's your responsibility as an informed person to vote. But you do say if they haven't earned your vote, then don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I leave most of my ballot blank most elections. But,
so I don't think it helped you out at all.
But I don't think there's ever been a candidate that I despise more than Destiny Wells.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question to you is, if I vote to try to ensure we don't have to deal with Indiana Beto anymore, like if she loses by enough, maybe she won't try to run for Senate or whatever's up next. Do I own Rokita's baggage if I vote for him?
Oh, boy. Well, that's on him. I mean, he can every politician can make all sorts of promises, and then what they actually do, that's not on the voter. That's on what they told you they would do.
And no, to answer the question in the YouTube chat, I did not vote for Rokita for Attorney General last time.
Okay,
it was left blank.
you left
but
it
that
blank.
Winesapple guy he ran against last time was not nearly as awful as Destiny Wells. He was just a Democrat. She is a whole new... All right.
So she could be earning your vote for Rokita.
Oh, yeah, I think the ship has sailed on Destiny earning my vote.
Well, earning your vote to make you vote for Rokita.
Do we need to... Well, that's right. So... we really probably need to put a timetable on Rokita coming in by Thursday, right? If Rokita comes in and we just hash it out, first of all, there'll be 1 million people that would listen to that and people would love it. And the one thing I do like about Rokita, because some people have told me offline they've reached out to Rokita and been like, I think you and Rob can straighten this out because of how much Rob dislikes Destiny, and it will help you because he has a lot of
You have
people.
common ground.
Yeah, so some mutual friends have reached out to Rokita. And to Rokita's credit, and this is one thing I admire about Rokita, he's like, I don't want his support. That's what I was told directly was his response.
He doesn't care.
No, I didn't care. And I admire that. That guy is like, I hate him as much as he hates me, and I'm never being nice to that guy.
It's mutual disdain.
There's something kind of endearing about that, right? It's like looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
So here's what I think we ought to do.
Yeah.
We ought to give Rokita until Thursday, because I'm going to vote Thursday.
Okay.
And if he comes in here, and we can just, clearly I'm looking for a reason to support him because I dislike Destiny Wells that much.
If you just need one reason?
I mean, I think if he came in here, because we'd get 1 million listeners out of it.
Yeah.
And it'd be great.
He's doing something for you.
Yeah, I mean, we had him on with the Project Rescue thing a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that went really well.
It was fine. It was fine. I'm not looking
We didn't really talk politics.
Well, that's the point. I mean, people would be more interested in this because it's just two guys just shooting the breeze.
Well, that kind of is earning your vote a little bit because you're both engaged in the same project.
You're looking for a reason.
Good.
You're looking for a reason for me to go to yes.
He's on your side in regards to that.
All right, Todd. I know your people listen to the show. They've told me. So I'm going to put this in your camp. I'm voting Thursday at 2. So you decide any day this week.
Yeah.
I'm here all week.
We'll make it work. I'm here all week. Do we want to get to a voicemail or two?
Yeah, sure. It's a voicemail
Or
segment.
are we going to table that for a different segment?
No, it's fine. Let's play a voicemail.
Okay. This one is about, there's 2 days left for an October surprise, and somebody wants to talk about that.
Yes, Casey, Rob. I heard you guys on there. The guy's filling in for Rob. I don't know why he's off today, but anyway. The October surprise was, I already found out last night what it may be. Remember a few months ago they found cocaine. I think they're on this video. They said they found some twice in there, and then the regular media didn't say a whole lot about it and so on. There was a whistleblower. They didn't show his face, and he was saying that cocaine was not Hunter's. It was brought in by a high-level staff member for Kamala.
Yeah, I saw that video too. Okay, a couple things. The guy's giving you a hard time for taking a day off.
Well, since my whole life is an open book, why don't we go ahead and tell everybody where I was? So, like many other companies, they have a discount for your insurance if you live a certain lifestyle and you do certain things. And one of the things we have to do every year is get a physical. And because it's very hard to get a physical, I had to do mine in the middle of the day, and that required me, of course, to be there in person. So that's where I went. I hope that's okay with you. Now, much to the chagrin of many, and it was pending a blood test, which they told me my blood test was in, and they weren't like, you're dying. So I'm guessing that's okay.
Right.
Everything went fine, and the doctor seems to think I'm going to be around for another year. So, but
people are always concerned about your heart. Blood pressure was okay.
Everything. The lady's taking the blood pressure, and she's staring at the thing, and she goes, "Are you usually low?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what does that mean? And then she's like, "Oh, there it is. It's working now. You're fine."
Do you remember what it was?
It was 108/68.
Oh, wow. Oh, that is a little lower, isn't it?
But I asked her, she's like, "No, that's fine."
Yeah.
Here's what people do not understand about me, and we have been through
You
this.
get it out of your system with me. And then you go home and be nice.
I'm an incredibly Casey bears the I am incredibly Kev will back me up on this. I'm an incredibly calm person in my personal existence. I'm a joy to be around. I don't get angry.
Right.
I just it's like I get it. All my anger gets out in the politics stuff and my personal
right between 9 and noon.
Right.
And then now all the other hours you're very calm.
Now, if you get me on the phone and you start talking about like local politics or something with me, I will get pissed off about that. And if I'm talking to somebody about that, then I'll get a little upset. But in terms of like my daily existence, I don't have any energy left.
Yeah, you're good. Well, that's true. It does take a lot out of you, getting it all out of your system between 9 and noon.
I hope that's okay that I took that day off to go take my physical for insurance.
I guess we'll allow it. He was talking about this undercover video. It was one of those, reporters who was recording from a camera hidden in a purse or something. And this person, whistleblower, although I wouldn't really call him a whistleblower because he wasn't.
We got to go to a break.
Attaching his name.
Kevin's getting very angry. He's like pounding the desk over there.
Yeah, Hammer's going to join us next. It's 93 WIBC.
Election laws, theft lawsuits, and the United States embarrassed by being left out of a potential Middle Eastern war. It's the Tony Kennett Cast here at 7 p.m. or the podcast anytime.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Hoosiers need a fighter to protect our jobs and our values. I'm Todd Rokita, your Attorney General. I fight for you, and together we win. Suing Biden because he's opened the border to illegals who are killing us, harming our kids, and driving up our taxes. Stopping federal bureaucrats who kill jobs and jack up our electricity prices with their failed Green New Deal that does nothing for our air and water. Keeping criminals behind bars where they belong. Recovering millions of dollars from welfare theft, fraud, and from opioid drug manufacturers, all to protect your health and your tax dollars. Creating the Parents' Bill of Rights so you can protect our kids from those trying to corrupt them while you're at work. Successfully keeping boys from competing in girls' sports and defending, of course, our pro-life values. And the Gun Owners' Bill of Rights so you can defend yourself and your family. I'm Todd Rokita, and with your vote this November, we'll keep fighting and winning together. Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
As the summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-262-1104 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-262-1104. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
My whole identity had been wrapped up in being a soldier. To have that so violently ripped from me when I was wounded, I was lost for a very long time. When Wounded Warrior Project came into my life, being around the other warriors, people that had similar experiences that I did, it was a game changer for me. Having King join the group, that was the beginning of a really good friendship. But it's a good time.
I first heard about Wounded Warrior Project through CQ. And at first I was kind of like, I don't know if I qualify. But having been a part of it, it's kind of taught me that it's not just the wounds that you can see, but it's those that you can't.
When you do something like a peer support group with Wounded Warrior Project and come together from different walks of life, man, the growth is incredible. If not for Wounded Warrior Project, I really don't think that I'd be here today.
See how we help warriors combat stigma at woundedwarriorproject.org/combat stigma.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-704-9936. 800-704-9936. 800-704-9936.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. Never miss your favorite shows on WIBC. Get your content to go. Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, Tony Kennett, The Gun Guy, Home and Garden. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
There he is from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show, Jason Hammer in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning. Had a winning weekend in sports betting. It wasn't great, but it's better than a losing weekend. We were one game above 500 in the NFL and 3-1 in the college game. And and Rob's got action, I believe, in the Monday night game tonight. You're Mr. Monday Night.
That's right. I was 3-2 in college, and I am 2-2 in the NFL.
So it comes down to tonight. It's the Steelers and Giants, right?
And what am I now? I'm 23 and 16 on the year for the NFL. So, I mean, that's the thing about our show. We have winning records.
Yes. Everybody involved, like even the pros that we work with on our show, they pass out free winners, right? Stefanoff of Fall and Never Fade, Kenny of KB Sports, big, hairy American winning machines.
And you know what? One of the crazy things is there is a local newspaper writer down in Evansville who I have known through a variety of other stories that he has covered. And just randomly one day he messaged me and he's just like, I'm a huge fan of your show. And we message about sports betting all the time. It's just random, the people who find it and love the show. And I don't want to say the guy's name because I don't want to publicly let people know he associates with me.
He's a degenerate.
Might ruin his reputation, right? But he loves the show and we message all the time. And it's like, just what a small world. And the degenerates bring people together.
It is. And show is the key word here, right? Because you can find sports picks anywhere. And we joke about this on the show. You turn on like ESPN sports betting programs. Yeah. There's a bunch of dudes with man buns and Botox and skinny jeans. These are not people anybody wants to hang out with. And then the other side of that coin is you go on social media or whatnot, super hot chicks with huge cans, and they're clearly reading off a teleprompter something somebody else, wrote. That woman is never going to hang out with you. Okay. But
and she might have some issues going on with crypto.
Right. We don't know. But you can hang out with Rob and I. We tell you when we win. We tell you when we lose. And because these college kids make more money than we do, we have no problem ripping them.
Do we go to is this weekend or next weekend the one we go to the wedding?
Not this weekend, but the following.
So when we go to the wedding?
Yes.
After the election.
Yes.
Great.
So I got a bad feeling I'm going to buy this gift by myself, and I'm going to ask Rob to chip in, and he's going to be like, oh, I forgot my wallet.
Wait, are we getting him a gift, or are we just giving him money?
Well, that's a gift.
Cash in an envelope, everyone's favorite gift.
Cash is way easier, right?
Yeah. Right.
Sure.
I mean, you buy whatever you want. Right. I don't understand why people get gifts at weddings
I consider
anymore.
cash a gift.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just didn't mean, like, we're not going to, is Bed Bath & Beyond a thing anymore?
Kind of.
It exists?
I think
so. Is
so.
it a store or is it one of those ones that closed?
I think it was bought by Overstock.
We're not
right?
going to Home Goods or any place like that. We're actually just giving the people money.
Here's Kohl's cash. Congratulations on your wedding.
Here's some Old Navy bucks.
Thanks for inviting Rob and the degenerate sex hammer. Okay, so the end of that Bears game was kind of a disaster. Did you watch that?
So, yes, I did. And again, if I'm the head coach of the Chicago Bears and I see the guy that I've got playing deep, right, my way back safety, and he's turning around and his back's to the play and he's talking to the fans, I'd have a problem with that, to say the least.
Well, but Eberflus, who was a complete turd here in Indianapolis, and it's the most Bears thing ever to hire a complete guy who's a complete turd as a coordinator.
What do you mean? The local media told me how great he was. Flus, they kept calling him. Flus is this and Flus is that. Flus is a good guy. Flus sucks.
Yeah, he's a horrible coach. Horrible coach, no discipline. They were down at the 1 yard line and they're giving the ball to a guy with number 68 on his jersey. What are you doing? Oh boy, I almost said a big one. It's the same stuff every year with these guys, and you're right. You see that guy out jacking around on the field with the fans. How are you not running, screaming, calling a timeout? You're out of here. Next guy in.
What do you think is going to happen at the film study today when they sit back and watch the film?
He'll ask him if he's feeling all right. He'll ask him if he's
because that's the kind of guy Flus is. We love Flus.
What's coming up this afternoon?
Monday Gun Day with Guy Relford. We're going to recap the latest in Delphi with Donnie and Guy. Plus, man, that big fire at the HVAF. We're going to have the president on. We're going to see how we can help.
Oh, when we come back, people are having an aneurysm. Is he going to talk about Micah? Yeah, we'll talk about Micah.
We're going to do that next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Thanks, Hammer.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience, so I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
It's Terry Stacy, a customer of Premier Deck Coating, and they've changed our life when it comes to saving us time and money, preparing and protecting our deck year after year. Premier Deck Coating is the ultimate deck protection, sister company of Rhino Shield, locally owned. Right now, we've got black walnuts that fall from the trees that normally used to stain the deck, but no more now that we have Premier Deck Coating. It has completely transformed our deck with their special formulated product, and it's backed by a 10-year warranty. They came in, they sanded all the walking surfaces, they repaired the damaged boards, and then they applied their Protect Deck and Railing coating, and that repels mold and moisture, and it resists scratches, and it keeps our deck looking great for years to come. They can also do fences and pergolas, too. And listen to this. Right now, they're able to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans and no payments until next year to qualified customers. Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. We love what they were able to do for us. For a free quote, visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Indiana has nearly 2,800 pig farmers and ranks 5th in the country in pork production. Hoosier pig farmers are raising some of the finest pork in the nation. October is National Pork Month. From family farms to innovative operations, Indiana's pig farmers are committed to quality and sustainability, all while providing your family pork that's packed with protein, vitamins, and minerals that are good for you. So the next time you're at the grocery store or your favorite restaurant, make pork your choice and celebrate Indiana pig farmers.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Join WIBC this Halloween for safe trick-or-treat at the Indiana State Fairgrounds starting at 5 p.m. This event is proudly presented to you by your Indiana Secretary of State. Make a plan to get to the polls and vote. Go to indianavoters.com to find polling locations.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
Coming up in 2 minutes, there were 2 police shootings in a matter of hours in Indianapolis, plus where this union is thinking about going on strike again. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. I'm Kurt Darling. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
His name's not on the ballot. I'm Chris Foster. Fox News. President Biden's voting early this morning in Wilmington, Delaware, 99 days after dropping out of the race and endorsing Vice President Harris. She has 3 campaign events in Michigan today after a busy day, including a rally in Philadelphia.
So, Philly, I've got a question for you. Are you ready to do this? Are we going to do this? Yes. Are we ready to vote? Are we ready to win?
Former President Trump has 2 events in Georgia today after last night's 6-hour rally at Madison Square Garden in New York City.
She's unfit for office. Everyone knows it. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously. Everyone knows she is a very low IQ individual.
Nearly 42 million people have voted early so far. Early voting starts today in Colorado and Washington, D.C. The state of Virginia is asking the Supreme Court to allow for 1,600 voters suspected of being non-citizens to be unregistered. A federal appeals court upheld an order restoring those registrations. States are banned from voter roll purges within 90 days of an election. North Korean troops are at the front line of Russia's war with Ukraine.
NATO says some of the North Korean troops have already been deployed in Russia's Kursk border region, where Russia has been struggling to push back a Ukrainian incursion. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte called it a significant escalation in North Korea's involvement in the conflict.
The deepening military cooperation between Russia and North Korea is a threat to both the Indo-Pacific and Euro-Atlantic security.
It's a win for Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has sought help from North Korea and Iran in the past. Rutte said NATO is monitoring the situation closely and is set to talk soon with South Korea's president and Ukraine's defense minister.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Not 1, but 2 police shootings. Radar is clear, 54 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. An IMPD cop shot a man, they say carjacked and kidnapped a woman at gunpoint on the east side Sunday.
There's no information that she knew the suspect. She was totally surprised by this individual that jumped in her car and threatened her with the gun.
The woman drove the car to where she knew officers were, near 11th and Keeling, and that led to the man refusing to put the gun down when told to by the cops. He pointed the gun at them instead, and that's when one officer shot and then tased the man, they say. A police officer in Southport shot a man early this morning. Ryan Hedrick reports.
How many times have you heard that a cop had to shoot somebody because a traffic stop went bad? That's what happened on Monday morning when a man was fussing with police after they stopped the car he was driving. State Police Sergeant John Perrine says after the guy hopped out of the car, the foot chase was on.
During that foot pursuit, the suspect fired at least one shot, and the officer fired shots at the suspect, wounding him.
State police are now in charge of the investigation. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Democratic candidate for governor Jennifer McCormick visited a few Hoosier counties Saturday in order to attend Get Out and Vote rallies. In a video posted to social media, she encouraged her followers.
Go vote early.
Get your friends and your family. Let's do this, Hoosiers.
Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. UAW members may vote to authorize a strike this week in Fort Wayne. Workers at the GM plant there are upset the company laid off 250 part-time temporary workers recently. They say that was in violation of the union's new contract with GM. A tough night for the Indiana Pacers as they lost to the Sixers in their home opener 118-114.
We gave up 29 points off turnovers in New York and 31 today. The rebounding differential, giving up 20 offensive boards is just, that just can't happen.
Head coach Rick Carlisle, Tyrese Halliburton leading the way, scoring 22 points. They hit the road again tonight to face the Magic in Orlando. I'm Kirk Darling on The Level on the go and on WIBC.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust, Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans for any budget. Protection on the drivetrain, electrical, transmission, AC, and more. Plus 24/7 roadside assistance and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything, from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic of your choice. Act now and get 1 full year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Endurance has paid hundreds of millions in claims. Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-291-0198. That's 800-291-0198. 800-291-0198.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, October 28th. It's 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So they're calling it Taylor Swift Week. And here are some numbers to share with you. This is a 9-figure economic impact. 200,000 visitors are expected in Indianapolis. 89% of tickets were bought outside of the Indy Metro.
Okay, say that again.
89% of tickets purchased to the concerts were bought outside of the Indy Metro.
So that means the overwhelming majority of people who are coming to this area
are not from here.
That's correct. Okay, thank you. Go on.
They also say short-term rentals are up by 207% over last year, and hotels are virtually sold out. And I heard them say during the news that all of the Indianapolis police are required to work this weekend. So here's what we're going to do. We've got the majority of the concert goers are not from the area, but we want all the police on call to make sure that they're safe. But if you're a resident here, doesn't matter.
This is important, and this is where we get into the great, I won't call it a lie, I'll call it the deception of government. Because you are sold a bill of goods when you are told that we built Lucas Oil Stadium for economic development purposes. Of course, it was a giveaway to a billionaire trust fund kid who inherited the team from his dad, and poor and middle-class people paid so he could have a free stadium. Oh, and by the way, and maybe we'll have Jake Query on later this week to talk about just how much money Jim Irsay is going to make off that Taylor Swift concert. Maybe we'll do that later, because if there is one person in the world that loathes that stadium more than me, it's Jake Query.
It's him.
And unlike me, who so many people love to hate, everybody loves Jake Query. So we'll the same different guy giving you the same facts. Maybe it'll hit home a little different.
Do you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember when Xi Jinping visited San Francisco and Gavin Newsom cleaned up the city of all the homeless people for his visit?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. So we're told it's this economic development tool. But the reality is, when we talk about economic development tools, a whole bunch of people outside of Indianapolis or the greater Indianapolis area are going to benefit from this supposed economic development tool. And it doesn't account into all of the cost. When they talk about, well, it could be 9 figures. Okay, but what's the cost? Like the Super Bowl, for example. That was a shining event for our city. Absolutely. Without debate, without discussion, the city worked it wonderfully. They put it on great. It was by every account, even from people not from here, said, oh, this may be the greatest Super Bowl of all time. Now, we got super lucky with the weather, but hey, you take the cards you're dealt with, right? The reality is the city of Indianapolis lost money on the Super Bowl. You, the taxpayers, subsidize the Super Bowl. Now, is anybody from the city, do they ever talk about that? Oh, these hundreds of thousands of people, they came to our city and the economic development impact, blah, blah. Well, you subsidized it. As a taxpayer, you paid money out of your pocket for that thing to happen. Now, is there an argument to be said that, hey, can you put a price on the good nature or the goodwill or the showcasing your city? Is there a price to be paid for that? Okay, I'm willing to hear that. But you're being disingenuous at best when you talk about economic development impact if you're not talking about all the additional costs that it takes to create an environment by which people can safely come, whether it's a Super Bowl or a Taylor Swift concert. Oh, and by the way, when we're talking about economic development impact, okay, somebody eats at a restaurant. Great. Well, if you live in Indianapolis or the donut counties, you're subsidizing that restaurant in downtown Indianapolis because you're paying for a tax increase for that stadium that a very select group of people are benefiting from. And again, if you want to say, well, it's totally worth it to me to pay the money to have a spotlight on the city of Indianapolis because of my city pride and my civic pride. Great, fine. But that's not the discussion they're trying to have with us. They always try to present, whether it's the Colts or the Super Bowl or Taylor Swift or whatever, that it's this economic boon to the city. They're not mentioning all of the costs that go into creating the ability to have this thing, which oftentimes, as was the case with the Super Bowl, dwarfs the cost of the money that the thing itself is bringing in.
I thought it was just really interesting because the news report was like, oh, there was a shooting on the east side of Indianapolis over the weekend. And with Taylor Swift coming, all full-time police officers are required to be on duty this weekend. So they want to make sure that people who don't live here are safe. But when it comes to the people who actually contribute and pay for their salary, it doesn't matter what happens to you.
And by the way, okay, has this ever happened where they have removed Indianapolis-based people or things from that Marriott and put a photo of someone else?
You're talking about taking down the Colts and putting up Taylor Swift?
That is bizarre to me that you are removing... Like, hey, it's Caitlin. There's a photo of Caitlin Clark. Great. She's an Indianapolis-based athlete. Or
who will soon have a new head coach.
Right. Or it's a picture of, Jonathan Taylor or Anthony Richardson or whoever. Great. Get it. These are keys to the city of Indianapolis. Are we going to be putting Sting and Billy Joel portraits up?
Good question.
And you hit on the thing that matters most. The overwhelming majority, what was the number?
89% of tickets bought outside of Indy Metro.
Are people coming into our city who are not planning to stay here for the long haul? They're not planning to be here for the long haul. The majority of these people are getting in and getting out. And I just think we're not being forthright with the people of the city about how, in many cases, now we'll see what the final numbers are, right?
Right.
But that they are... or have in previous events been subsidizing other people's entertainment.
Let's talk about another music star who made news over the weekend, Beyonce Gate. That is real. And it's somewhat of a problem for the Democrats. Okay, so it was put out there that Beyonce was going to be at a Kamala Harris rally. And I believe most of the people who attended that rally thought her appearance meant she would be singing. That's what she's known for.
Oh!
She's going to go to this rally. She's going to put on a show, right?
Right. Because why would anybody think anything else? That's what she does.
Right. But instead, she came, she spoke for a few minutes, and then she left. And when she left, the crowd, I believe it was 30,000 people, the crowd was not happy. This is what they sounded like.
We're not going. And we have...
They were booing her. They were booing Kamala Harris because they were led to believe that Beyonce was going to perform.
Now, you have been in entertainment for many, many years, both television and radio, and you know the number one thing in entertainment that, or in any sort of sales, anything you're selling to the public, which is politics, right? You're selling things to the public. You're selling a candidate to the public, is to underpromise and overdeliver.
Right.
If you overpromise and underdeliver, you will turn people against you.
Yeah, absolutely. And critics are now saying that Harris and The mainstream media intentionally misled the attendees into thinking that she would perform, just like they did at the DNC when that was a no-show. That didn't happen.
Well, and you know what's weird is, so like they had, was it in Georgia? They had Springsteen up there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I don't know if he was just having a bad day or the acoustics were bad.
He was awful.
It was horrible.
It was bad, Rob.
I mean, I've been to multiple Bruce Springsteen acoustic shows, like where he's on stage by himself. They did not sound anything like that. And so I don't know if they were trying to, because he's like in the center of the arena, and it's clearly not set up for singing or
He did
instruments.
like an acoustic version of Dancing in the Dark.
And it was like horrible.
Yeah.
Awful.
And I know you like his music, so I'm glad that you can admit it.
Here's
bad.
This is the thing about me, Casey.
It was
I
bad.
rip on people I like all the time. Like this is why. Hey, did you know we're number one?
Yes,
This
I
is why
heard
our
that.
show's number one, because we are equal opportunity offenders, and we tell our audience the truth. And that was horrible. And so if you go to that, first of all, are you really picturing like, okay, I'm going to see Bruce Springsteen, and I think I'm going to get Dancing in the Dark, acoustic. Please go vote, everybody.
Yeah.
No, you're thinking, it's going to be the frickin' E Street Band, Little Steven and Nils Lofgren and the great Max Weinberg.
Well, and you think probably, he's going to sing Born in the USA, even though that's not what everybody thinks it's about, but that's what you would assume, right? No, it didn't work out that way. Okay, one other thing until we move on to the Micah conversation, which we're going to get to. John Fetterman was on, I believe this was a podcast, and he was talking about pretty much the Democrats are in trouble. But one of the things that he was mentioning was what truck nuts are.
I love this.
Yeah.
So here's the thing with Fetterman that's crazy. Do you think it's like somehow he got like, I know this sounds like a Dr. Frankenstein sort of thing, but do you think he somehow surgically got like his brain got repaired back together? How could you go from where he was
right
to where he is now?
It's like almost like a Disney movie or something.
Right? I mean, I know that sounds ludicrous when I'm telling you, but when you think he was opening a debate, hi, good night, everybody.
Right. And
now you hear this, and not only is he coherent, the story's actually endearing. And my favorite thing is this, I think it was NPR or somebody like that, is interviewing him, and she's just beside herself that she's even being told this story.
I know. She did not look pleased about it at all, but here he is.
I'll never forget, I live directly across the street from the steel mill, and we were doing an event there for Clinton. And I asked the union president, I'm like, hey, where we are on Trump? And he's like, yeah, probably half or 60%, two-thirds are voting for him. And I was like, oh, that sucks. And then immediately there was a guy getting off, and he had a truck, and he had truck nuts on it. Do you know what truck nuts are?
Do I look like I know what truck nuts are?
It's balls hung on the hitch of a truck. And he honked, and he was like, go Trump, as he drove by. And it's like, hey, we're in trouble. And it's undeniable. And
Oh, that's great. Can we play that again? Can you isolate just like maybe the 5 seconds before?
Do I look like I know?
And then like maybe the 5 seconds out. I mean, like just 10 seconds of that audio. Is that possible?
President. I'm like, hey, where we are on Trump? And he's like, yeah, probably half or 60%, two-thirds are voting for him. And I was like, oh, that sucks. And then immediately there was a guy getting off, and he had a truck, and he had truck nuts on it. Do you know what truck nuts are?
Do I look like I know what truck nuts are?
It's balls hung on.
He had to throw it. He had to put that in there, didn't he?
It's like you hear this guy and you're like, is this? I mean, obviously, like I'm not a flat earther. I think we landed on the moon. I'm not a conspiracy theorist that I think like he's Saddam Hussein and they put a body double out there. But how is this? How is this even the same person?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that he seems to be in awe of Trump's popularity. Like he's like impressed by it. And he doesn't want to admit it, but he is.
Yeah, I mean that I thought that was strong, and I just loved her reaction. And he is great at knowing who's in front of him, and he's great at knowing screw with people.
Like he was intentionally trying to embarrass her.
And
or do you know what that is?
And he does it, and you know me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just speaking right to my heart. If you can intentionally just mess with someone,
make her uncomfortable on purpose,
and make them itchy, and make them just all geared up, and make them uncomfortable, and then make them pissed off at you, and yet they're still forced to consume your content. Like, I don't know. There's reasons some people have 40 people listening on their podcast, and we have tens of thousands because, well, you know, we get to things when we want to get to them, and we talk about them when we want to. And then some people just sit in the YouTube and like, why aren't you getting to the thing that I want you to talk about? Why aren't you talking about the thing I want you to talk about? What, you know, like you hide in the YouTube chat for a couple hours, and then as soon as we tease something just for fun to see if you'll come out, and then you sit there for a whole segment going, why aren't you going to talk about the thing that I want you to talk about, Casey? It's just like little mice to the cheese trap.
Is something like that happening right now?
We'll talk about Micah coming up next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
When this election is over, we're all going to need a drink. To come to think of it, let's book that now. WIBC and Tony Katz present
Understanding the Election in 3 Bourbons.
Brought to you by Premier Arms.
Thursday, November 14th. And we're going to try and get the answers.
He'll then explain the bourbons that go nicely with election analysis. You'll get a cigar.
There's going to be bourbon. There's going to be food.
A cash bar. And stimulating conversation.
It's going to be an incredible night.
Get the details and your tickets before they sell out at WIBC.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi, my entire family's obsessed with all things Wicked, but my kids can't stop watching the trailer, and now they're having a Wicked-themed sleepover. Do you think our internet can handle all of the streaming and memeing going on?
Well, we've engineered our Xfinity gateways to handle hundreds of devices at once, so they can all stay magically connected.
Wow. Are you a wizard?
I wish. No, just someone that won't let a bad connection burst your internet bubble.
Now through December 22nd, get Thrillifyingly fast 150 megabit Xfinity internet for just $35 a month for 12 months with no annual contract and free Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com to switch today. Keep the magic going from your screen to the big screen. And see Wicked, only in theaters November 22nd. Restrictions apply. Requires prepaid bill and auto-pay stored bank account. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After promo, regular rates apply. Currently $56 a month for internet service and $15 for Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary, not guaranteed.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. $10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy 2. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Can you hear me?
So can your customers. Get your message heard. Text BUSINESS to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
Advent is now open in Indianapolis and Avon. Find out more at adventknows.com.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
He is a newsmaker. There is no denying that. We're talking about Micah Beckwith, who wants to be the lieutenant governor of the great state of Indiana.
So this is where we're at with this governor's race, because clearly the Democrats have nothing to run on other than Jennifer McCormick's on-demand abortion advocacy and a tax plan that bankrupts the state in 4 years, which, by the way, why does somebody, I mean, I assume all our members of the media can do math. And why has one person not asked Jennifer McCormick, hey, you said on statewide radio that you weren't hearing that much about property taxes.
Right, and then 2 weeks later ran out and released
2 weeks? It was like 3 days.
Was it?
Yeah, we're being generous with that. You know, remember she was like, oh, I'm going to be responsible and wait for the tax. Did she not say that?
No, she did.
I'm going to wait for the tax commission. And then 3 days later, she's got a property tax plan.
She didn't want to release it on our show.
Yeah, and then, well, she didn't want to do it, period. And any person who can do basic math realizes her plan bankrupts the state in 4 years. And that one person is like, how are you going to pay for that? So you have the Democrats who have nothing to offer the state. Obviously, the libertarians, you know, they are what they are. And so the whole campaign has to become about trying to go at Braun and take him down. Look, that's how politics works, right?
But by going at Braun, they're going at Micah Beckwith. And this opinion piece just came out within the past 4 hours. And this is in the Indy Stars.
Indy Star wrote another opinion piece on Micah Beckwith?
It's like an hourly thing. They must have calendar updates. Ding! Oh, it's time to release another opinion piece on Micah Beckwith. It says Jennifer McCormick can win, but needs a Micah Beckwith referendum.
Yeah, so I don't know, and then we'll get into Micah stuff. I don't know who needs to hear this, but nobody cares about Micah Beckwith. And I love Micah. He's a good friend of mine, but nobody cares about the lieutenant governor. It's going to be decided between Mike Braun and Jennifer McCormick. And it's Mike Braun's job to seal the deal and make the sell. And if Mike Braun wins, which he should, and all polls show that he is winning, it'll be because of him. And if Mike Braun loses, it will be because of him. If people want to turn the state over to Democrats and Braun hasn't made the sale, then that's on him, and he'll ultimately have to deal with that. Nobody is voting. I mean, there are some, the only thing that's happened in this race is there are some conservative-minded people who did not vote for the Republicans in 2020 because of Holcomb's mass mandate shutdowns, et cetera, that have come back into the fold because Micah got elected. That's it. But ultimately, it's not enough to make a difference either way. The election is going to rest with whether Mike Braun seals the deal on property taxes, universal school choice, et cetera. Okay, all of that being said, the media, the Democrats, they desperately want to make this race about Micah Beckwith.
Well, they need a bad guy.
Right, they do. And Braun, let's face it, Braun's life, now he's said some things and he's voted for some things that we don't agree with. We've been very critical of those things over the years. We don't run away from them. The gas tax vote is ridiculous. We told him to his face. We told him when he came in and talked about his property tax plan, how ridiculous we thought it was. We're not shying away from that. Mike Braun has said some things. He's put his foot in his mouth, before over things like the marriage issue and some other things. And let's face it, that campaign finance fine that he got earlier this year, one of the largest in the history of elections, not good. All of those things are completely fair game, but the McCormick campaign is making, the media are making a huge mistake thinking anybody cares who the lieutenant governor is. And I don't understand. I mean, it shows how little they actually have to run on. There's tons of stuff you could hit Braun on, though. And that's what I can't figure out, Casey, is why they've tried to make, it's not the vision, right? Like, what is Jennifer McCormick's vision for the state of Indiana? Go.
On-demand abortion.
Right. That's the campaign, right? Every ad
it's
you
all
see,
abortion.
Right.
All the time.
And polling shows nobody cares about that. Polling shows whether it's Abdul's poll or it's the Emerson poll, that is so far down the list on things that people care about. And yet they have made their entire campaign about Micah Beckwith, which is just the weirdest campaign strategy I've ever heard of, because people want to know what they're voting for, especially in a state that is 57 to 60% are going to vote for Trump at the top of the ticket. 57 to 60% of the people in the state are going to vote for Donald Trump at the top of the ticket, which means, and the early voting is bearing this out in terms of Republican primary voters versus Democrat primary voters, that you would have to pull 10% probably of these Republicans who are voting for Trump. You're going to have to pull 10% of those people over to your side in order to win the election for governor. And if your theory is, well, people are going to vote for Donald Trump, and all the stuff Trump has done and said, and all the controversies he's waded into, and you think they're going to work down the ticket and go, okay, I'm voting for Trump, I'm voting for Banks, I'm voting for Rokita, but then I'm going to get to Braun, and it's not even Braun I dislike, but ooh, that lieutenant governor, well, he's just a step too far for me. That is the most ridiculous, stupid, insane strategy that I have ever heard of in a campaign. I cannot believe that is what they've gone with, because there's tons of areas you could actually pull people off of Braun, who is the candidate.
Yeah, well, Indy Star just can't help themselves. Every day they like to write a new article about him.
All right, so we'll take a break. When we come back, Abdul, I guess he thinks like he's he's like 4.5 years late to the party. But Abdul thinks he's Indiana Jones, and he has uncovered, this great political artifact that was hiding in plain sight, and he wants to make an issue out of it. So you know how we do here, Casey. We dislike all these people equally. We don't have any favorites. We've looked into it. We've done the exact thing with Micah that we tried to do with Donald Rainwater, and we'll tell you all about it next.
It's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Russia getting reinforcements. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. North Korea has begun sending troops to Russia to help with its war with Ukraine. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
NATO says some of the North Korean troops have already been deployed, and where Russia has been struggling to push back a Ukrainian incursion. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte called it a significant escalation.
The deepening military cooperation between Russia and North Korea is a threat to both the Indo-Pacific and Euro-Atlantic security.
Rutte said NATO is monitoring the situation closely. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
The LA Dodgers looking to take a commanding 3-game lead over the New York Yankees in the World Series later today. The series shifting to Yankee Stadium, where games 3 and 4 will be held, and a 5th game if necessary. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
It's common knowledge that after age 30, our metabolism changes. We have less energy and gain weight easier. There's a way to feel better, not in years or months, but sometimes in just days.
I'm Chuck Norris. I tried everything. Working with a team of health experts, we came up with Morning Kick. Morning Kick is a revolutionary new formula that combines all my favorite supplements into one daily drink.
Morning Kick has probiotics to help you lose weight, prebiotics for digestion, superfoods for muscles and joints, and powerful anti-aging supplements. It'll help you feel youthful, energized, and helps manage stress.
I look and feel better than I have in years.
Go to roundhouseprovisions.com, use code EASY, or text EASY to 511-511 and claim 40% off. Roundhouseprovisions.com, code EASY.
Every purchase comes with our 90-day money-back guarantee. You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text EASY to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
As summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-494-5004 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-494-5004. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Research shows smoking costs Indiana businesses $3.1 billion every year. It also shows that an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes would drastically reduce smoking, which could save lives, create jobs, and infuse the state of Indiana with hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Read the reports from the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation at thepriceofsmoking.org and see for yourself how an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes can have a positive impact on Hoosiers.
Have you lost Indiana Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, this is Richard Stevenson. Need heating service in Johnson, Morgan, or Hendricks County? Give us a call, 317-557-8532.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
Sometimes on this program, we got to do segments because other people can't stay up with the news. It's part of being us. It's Kendall Casey Show. I'm Rob. Casey's here. So let's get to this segment. Our old pal Abdul, and I love Abdul, but he thinks he has found, like he is Indiana Jones, and he thinks he has found his version of the political Ark of the Covenant with these couple of financial issues related to Micah Beckwith. And, on our show, we treat all these people equally. We don't run from things. We address them, and we'll do it here. I mean, I guess that's where we're at now. But so let's talk about there were 2 financial judgments that came out against Micah Beckwith in the late 2000s. 2007,
2008.
And they were related to a business, bills related to a business.
Yep.
Embroid Me, is that?
Embroid Me, Inc.
Which is a national chain, and they have franchises like a McDonald's or whatever. Right. They're all over the country. So if you have ever owned a business, and by the way, a couple things, because people are like, are you going to rip on him the way you ripped on Rainwater? Let's remind everybody of why we were critical of Donald Rainwater and his massive financial mismanagement over 15 years. It wasn't the thing itself. Look, I knew about Don's financial mismanagement when he ran for governor the first time. I would have voted for a human foot over Eric Holcomb. As in, if you had given me the option on the ballot, it's Holcomb v. human foot, I would have voted for a human foot. I'm not mad about Don's massive financial mismanagement. What we were upset about, and you can speak up if you feel differently, is that after 5 years of using this radio show
for promotion,
including just like 2 weeks earlier, when we gave him an hour when his pathetic poll numbers kept him off the debate stage, we gave him the platform that no one else would to come in here and debate. He ran from us. You reached out to him via text message. I reached out to him on his various social media platforms and said, hey, man, we just want to know what's going on. If he had offered to reach out to you and say, I'll tell you it off the record, I'll tell you it on the record, I'll come on the show, whatever.
I even said comment/interview. So it didn't have to be long form. He could have just sent back a message saying, whatever.
So Don ran from us. So when you run from us, all we have to go off of is the information that is presented in front of us, which were court and legal documents, which Don has never disputed anything we've said on here. You notice he's never disputed a single document, whether it's the $100,000 in mostly consumer debt during his bankruptcy, or the $5,000 plus in back child support, or his car getting repossessed, and none of that. He's never disputed anything we've said. Here's what the documents say. So if you don't talk to us, if you don't communicate with us, if you run from us, yeah, we're going to be critical of that, because as an elected official, you should be accountable. I will compare that to this issue with Micah, how yesterday, even though I've heard this story multiple times, this story goes back and was vetted and talked about 4.5 years ago when he ran for Congress, 4 months ago when he ran for lieutenant governor at the convention. But once again, to be fair, reached out again, and the story is always the same. Micah wasn't not returning calls. He wasn't running from me. He had a long conversation with me, and the story matches up. So here's the story, because we treat everyone equally. Casey, when you own a business and you sell a business, now I've been through this having bought and sold businesses. Now, this didn't happen to me, but it happened to the guy I bought the business from. When you transfer over that business, all of your creditors do not become immediately aware you've sold the business. Right? Now, ultimately, if it's the government or somebody like that, you probably should have some sort of wherewithal of what you owe or what it might be. But a lot of it rests on, and these things are actually in contracts, et cetera, you got to get some help from some of the people that you own, you have bought the business from, right? Like if you get mail that you owe a bill and the creditor doesn't know where to find you, how would you ever get that bill?
Right.
And there were two bills related to that business that Micah sold in the late 2000s. One was a tax bill, and the other was, I believe, a credit card bill. He was not notified that those bills existed. So the government and then that credit card, of the hundreds of bills you have when you own a business, there were two of them. The government and this creditor chose to take that through the legal process.
And they went to small claims.
Right. Instead of it reached a certain point. And look, I had this too. When I bought my radio station, we repeatedly would get bills from the guy that we bought the radio station from. And after a certain point, we would just write, not at this address anymore. Sometimes we would put, we think this is the address he is at, put it back in the mail. After 6 months of doing it, you're like, dude, it's not my job to find this guy. Whatever. Doesn't matter why it happened. The point is they went through the legal process, which is fine. That's their right. The legal process said, yes, he owes this money. And as part of that, we're choosing to garnish his wages. At that point, they found him and notified him that he owed that money.
You owed money.
And he paid it almost immediately.
It was $5,070.35.
Now, he will say that the majority of that is not money he owed the state. It was the fines, the penalties, whatever, for not paying the bill on time, which is fine. It doesn't matter. The point is he paid it. He didn't run from it. He didn't drag it out over 15 years. He didn't file for bankruptcy. He didn't say he had $100,000 in consumer debt. He didn't owe $5,000 in child support. When he was notified he owed the bill, he paid the bill, which the case was decided and cleared up in 2012, correct?
The case ended in 2012.
And the file was destroyed
in 2018.
In 2018, period. So if you want to be mad that the guy paid his bills in full when he was notified, you want to hate Micah Beckwith, of the hundreds of vendors a guy probably had owning a small business that he owed to two of them, that he paid off once he was notified, then okay, have at it. But what really is interesting to me is Abdul, who is the most connected together guy in Indiana politics, or at least that's how he'll describe himself. I know everybody. I'm connected to everything. This was fully vetted and explored by at least one major media outlet in the city who Abdul has many friends with during the primary, the convention.
And they said there's nothing there.
They found exactly that, right? And this was also out there when he ran for Congress 4.5 years ago. And so my question to Abdul is, how could you, the most connected together guy in all of Indianapolis media, just now becoming aware that this happened? Also, why did Abdul not call Micah? Micah has talked at length about this. Abdul is not the first guy to uncover this. I know Micah talked with the other media outlet at length that was exploring it in the primary. Why did Abdul run a story without calling Micah to ask him? And to point out real quick how consistent we're being, this is exactly what we asked Donald Rainwater to do. If Micah had run for me, you bet I'd be ripping his ass today. If Micah didn't tell me what happened, you bet I'd be ripping his ass today. Because then all you have to go off of is the information in front of us, which is exactly what we asked Donald Rainwater to do.
Okay, so the article says that Indy Politics plans to contact Beckwith to get his side of the story.
What sort of crappy-ass journalism is that? What sort of crappy-ass journalism is it? I love Abdul, and Abdul's been a friend of mine for a long time. Who runs a story and then goes, I'll call him on Monday? What sort of professionalism is that? What did we do? Remember when the story broke about rainwater? How did we handle it?
I texted him right away before we went on the air about it.
And that day, what did we say? Here's what we see in front of us, but we are withholding commentary until we give Don an opportunity to explain himself. We are handling this exactly as we requested Don handle it. And I'm being critical for Abdul of not handling the way we handled it. You should always give somebody a chance to explain themselves, even if somebody's explained it a million times. Why would Abdul do that?
Yeah, with the thing when the mailers went out against Don Rainwater, you and I talked about it, and we went on the air and said, okay, this is out there. And then I texted Don and said, hey, you want to comment? You want to come do an interview? And then we got nothing from him. And that's when we said, okay, this is not right.
Right.
And he chose to go to other media outlets.
Right. Now, including on this radio station.
Right.
People who were not friendly to him for 5 years. People who did not give him outlets when other people turned him away.
Okay, now, when Abdul released this story over the weekend, right?
Right.
Isn't that when it came out?
Yes.
It's already been out there. He was just re-putting it back out.
And he's acting like he uncovered the Holy Grail.
Yesterday
He tried to say, I think I found another Murdoch moment. What planet are you living on where these things are remotely related?
You reached out to Micah?
I did.
And you talked to him?
At length. And it's the same story. You know, that's the other thing about Don. Remember, Don's story started changing. Because remember, Don's initial story was, it was like an isolated thing. I was, down on my luck, and, I got back on my feet. Well, then the story started evolving to where it was 30 years ago, it was 20 years ago, it was 15 years ago. It was all of these instances, but they were all related to the same thing. Okay, they weren't all related to the same thing, but it took me 15 years. Like, Micah's story never has ever changed all the times I've talked to him about it.
I'm texting Micah right now.
I'm sure he would be happy to come on the show and discuss it if we need to, but my point is, what else is there to discuss? And I'd love to know why Abdul didn't call Micah, because Abdul always does this, and I've been critical of Abdul on this in the past, but it's his company, his website. He can do whatever he wants. He goes, well, if I put it in the cheat sheet, it's just kind of my ramblings, my musings, my thoughts, and then if I put it on my website, that's my legitimate news guy capacity. Okay, fine, that's your business. Which, by the way, Donald Rainwater is an advertiser
of Abdul. And I don't ever recall Abdul declaring that to anybody when he's been on these programs or others. There's nothing wrong with that. Don Rainwater's free to advertise with whoever he wants. It's a website. Abdul's free to take whoever's money he wants. But if you're going to be weighing in and investigating stories about people, then you need to be transparent about who's sponsoring you.
Right. There's nothing wrong with it, but you should be telling everybody, I'm taking money from one of these political candidates on a story that I'm covering.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know in Abdul's legitimate news guy capacity, which he's always said, well, if it's on my website, that's legitimate news, and I hold myself to a higher standard. Why did he run that story without calling Micah? Why was this the time? I've never known Abdul to do this. I don't know why he did it. It's up to him to say. It's his business. He can do whatever he wants. I love Abdul. I consider him a good friend. I think he handled this in a really crappy fashion.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Election laws, theft lawsuits, and the United States embarrassed by being left out of a potential Middle Eastern war. It's the Tony Kennett Cast here at 7 p.m. or the podcast anytime.
If you are a single or widowed woman, well, the statistics aren't very pretty. You run into a far greater risk of running out of money in retirement than any man or married couple. Hello there, it's Terry Stacy, and the last thing you want to be is 80 years old, full of life, and flat broke. Discover the strategies that could ensure you never run out of money in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy, right here in Indy. I know Bill, and I trust Bill, and I'm so thankful that he was able to help my mom, too. I don't put my name on any random Joe, but I'm here to say you can count on Bill Demery. Call Bill at 317-349-5212. That's 317-349-5212. 317-349-5212. Call Bill right now.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. And we love many things about Life Church, but one of them is the incredible online services. So if you can't make it to church for some reason, you don't miss anything. You can watch it right from the comfort of your own home at your convenience.
And the great thing about that is you can try Life Church out for yourself. See what it's all about, a test drive of sorts. Life Church is warm. They're welcoming. Many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church over the years. They'd love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Campuses in Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, plus those awesome online services. Learn more about everything at lifechurchin.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9379. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9379. That's 800-575-9379. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
Don't you deserve health care you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Indianapolis, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577.
Service today?
Today.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Pacers basketball is ready to run it back and show the world our time is now.
With 1 and 6/10 seconds to play, Halliburton with a chance to make it a 3-point game.
Be there on Wednesday for an Eastern Conference Finals rematch.
Neesmith beat the shot clock, and the crowd tells you the result.
Your Pacers collide with the defending NBA champions, the Boston Celtics, Wednesday at 7. Get your tickets at pacers.com/tickets. Pacers, Celtics, Wednesday at 7.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra is making its way back to Gamebridge Fieldhouse on December 19th with an all-new show, The Lost Christmas Eve Tour. For tickets and more information, head to WIBC.com.
Okay, so this is interesting. We had a little conversation about Micah Beckwith in the article that Abdul had put out, and I said, I'm going to text him right now. Same thing I did with Don Rainwater while we were on the air.
Exactly the same.
Exactly the same. So I sent Micah a text and said, would you like to come on the show to discuss/comment on Abdul's article? And during the commercial break, he replied, sure. When are you thinking? I said, when you're available based on your schedule, Tuesday through Friday, 9 until noon.
So you handled it exactly the way we tried to handle it with Don.
Pretty much the same thing. Do you have a comment? Would you like to interview? Do you want to discuss? Comment?
So all Abdul would have had to do, because he has Micah's number, I know he does, because he's asked me for it, I think, multiple times now, and he's had him on his show before, is say, can you comment on it? And he said, sure, I'll gladly comment on it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't, this is what I don't understand, and maybe, I don't know, maybe Hammer can have him on, or we'll have Abdul, obviously I'll have him on Wednesday. And look, I still consider Abdul a dear friend, and, you know, Abdul and I have a sort of a relationship where if he did something, if I did something that he didn't like, he calls me crazy to his establishment friends all the time. And, you know, I just think that was, Abdul's too good of a journalist. He's been around too long. He's an attorney. He knows how this stuff operates. And for him, first of all, to act like the story is a new story, there's no way. Abdul's too smart and he's too well connected to know this hadn't been fully vetted before.
Previously.
He knows too many people at the media outlet that was vetting it. And trust me, the media outlet that was vetting it, they are not friends of Micah Beckwith.
But do you see the difference? I do. And Micah has even said it. You know what? This is big boy politics now. And you can't run. You have to be able to go in and answer the questions.
Yeah. And the reality
is, and that's all we were asking of Don. He wouldn't do it. Yeah. He went on every show but ours. And now, okay, Micah,
right?
We want to ask you about this.
I don't
sure,
understand
what
why.
Are you thinking?
Yeah, I don't understand why this is so difficult, right? Like, Micah's a big boy. If you think Micah not paying 2 bills until he was notified and then paying them is a big deal, then don't vote for it. But I mean, you're voting for Braun anyway. But if Micah not paying 2 bills, which were paid then once he was notified, if that disqualifies him from being lieutenant governor, then vote that way. That's fine. Voting is a personal preference. But if you're in any way trying to equate what this guy did with 2 bills versus a guy who for 15 years skirted his obligations and then ultimately got out of the obligations. Keep in mind, Micah paid what he owed. Don Rainwater filed for bankruptcy and claimed he owed $100,000 plus. $100,000 plus in mostly consumer debt. Or if you're like, I don't like either two of these guys, I'm going to vote for the on-demand abortion advocate who bankrupts the state in 4 years. Go for it. Voting is a personal preference. It's big boy politics. We covered it. I know all day there are people saying, he won't talk about it.
He won't.
No, we do. We absolutely do bring it up because we cover all of these people equally. And I promise you, with every fiber of my being, I had a conversation a long time ago with Micah about, well, actually it was Micah's Susan about this. And she said, I do worry if Micah becomes lieutenant governor that someday you're gonna rip him and it could tear apart your friendship. And I said, well, there's going to be,
it's a possibility.
I said there's going to come a time where Micah's going to do something that I don't agree with. But I said, the people should know by now, the tens of thousands of people who listen to me should know, there's things you can do that I disagree with and we all remain friends. But the one thing I will not tolerate is people who run from me and people who deceive me. As long as you look me in the eye and say, here's what happened, and here's the story, we're good. People make mistakes. People do things that are wrong. People do things all the time that I don't agree with. It's about, as a politician, as an elected person, looking your constituents in the eye and holding yourself accountable.
Or in this case, your favorite radio show. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening today. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws